The poor young master acquires a wealth system and turns his life around. Chapter 1, Nirvana Rebirth. On a summer evening, at 7:10 p.m., the streets were bustling with noise and activity. In front of a barbecue stall. "Boss, add for more skewers of lamb kidneys, pick the fattest and most fragrant ones, and make sure my bro gets a good meal," shouted a chubby young man. "Got it. Our lamb kidneys are top notch, guarantee you'll eat them and your girlfriend will be screaming for more tonight." In no time, for sizzling skewers of lamb kidneys were served. "Look at me, I still don't have a girlfriend. I can only be a simp for others, a backup, playing with whatever is left over. But did I say anything? I didn't just give up on myself like you did. This society, you either have money, good looks, or talent. If you have none of those, someone like us poor losers are only good to be someone else's simp, and they still look down on you. Anyway, I don't care. I've been simping for a few girls lately, and I believe that as long as I keep at it, sooner or later I'll score. What if one of them is curious and wants to try a warm guy like me? Are you eating this kidney or not? If not, I'll finish it." Wang Cheng mumbled to himself. Beside him, Chu Xiao groggily opened his eyes, his stomach churning, and couldn't help but vomit onto the table. After vomiting, he felt much better. Ding! Rebirth detected. Binding conditions met. Do you wish to accept the system binding? Once bound, this system will assist you in becoming the strongest show-off across all realms. A mechanical, emotionless voice echoed in his mind. His soul trembled. Chu Xiao froze for a moment. System. Show off? Did I? Rebirth. Ding. Please make a choice within 30 seconds, otherwise it will be considered an automatic rejection. The mechanical voice rang again. I accept. Chu Xiao never imagined that after his death, he would be reborn. Recalling his past life, he had been devastated when he saw his girlfriend leaving a hotel hand in hand with an unfamiliar man. Heartbroken, he drowned his sorrows in alcohol that night, drinking himself to the point of stomach bleeding and being sent to the hospital. In the end, he was declared dead after failed resuscitation. In his final moments, he reflected on his past 3 years rebellious, immature, and laughably foolish. He finally regretted it, but it was too late to say anything. His heart had stopped beating. He had thought this life would end so abruptly. But to his surprise, he had been reborn. Chu Xiao was once the heir to the Chu Group in Jianghai City, with assets worth hundreds of billions. He had been born with a golden spoon in his mouth, a true prince. Unfortunately, 3 years ago, because he was unhappy with the family's arranged marriage, he stormed out. He even boldly declared, I, Chu Xiao, will make a name for myself out here, no matter what. He promised to rise from nothing, relying on no one, and earn 100 million within 3 years to prove to his family that he, Chu Xiao, wasn't some lazy rich kid. He was determined to make something of himself and find his true love. 3 years passed in the blink of an eye. Chu Xiao struggled in society, and in the end, he went from a rich kid to a broke loser. He was now living paycheck to paycheck and even owed tens of thousands on his credit card. Now, the 3-year deadline had arrived. He couldn't face his family. His career had failed, and after 3 years, his girlfriend had dumped him for another man. This series of blows left Chu Xiao disheartened. The only thing he could do was call his good friend Wang Cheng to drink, get drunk, and eventually drink himself into the ground. Since the heavens had given him a second chance, this time, Chu Xiao swore he would never be so naive again, and he would never cry over a woman. Binding in progress. Binding successful. Congratulations, host. You are now bound to their strongest self-glorification system. You have one free chance to open their glorification item pool every day. Besides the free daily opportunity, you can also use glory points to draw items. Host, please keep generating glory points to gain more. With enough glory points, you will become the ruler of all realms. Go forth. Become the ultimate show-off that everyone envies. Note, glory points can be gained by showing off and slapping faces, collecting treasures, beating and killing enemies, winning over beauties, and much more. A series of system prompts. Chu Xiao stood still, staring at the virtual panel in front of him. His fingertips easily passed through it. It was virtual. Ethereal. Completely unreal. He had really bound the legendary system. In these 3 years, as a bottom-tier loser, he often read self-glorification novels to fill the emptiness in his soul, so he naturally knew what a system was. He never imagined that not only would he be reborn, but he would also be bound to a system. A self-deprecating smile appeared on Chu Xiao's face. Hey! Don't scare me like that. You're making me cry one moment and laugh the next. What exactly do you want to do? And you just vomited all over the table, messing up my grilled lamb kidneys. Wang Cheng stepped back 3 meters, eyeing the 2 skewers of lamb kidneys with regret. Chu Xiao rinsed his mouth with beer, feeling much better, and then smiled. Wang Cheng, your lucky day has come. From now on, if you stick with me, I'll make sure you live a life of glory and wealth. Wang Cheng rolled his eyes. Stick with you? I'll be starving for 3 days out of every 9. Chu Xiao smiled without responding. He pulled out 300 yuan and slapped it on the table, then turned around without a word. He was going home. He was going to inherit his $100 billion fortune. From now on, he'd be a laid-back rich kid, living off his wealth and doing nothing. Wang Cheng, I know a great foot massage place. Want to go? Chu Xiao, no. Wang Cheng, then where are we going? It's late at night. You're not thinking of getting back with Zhang Sheru, are you? I'm telling you, never lower your head as a man, because once you do, you lose. Chu Xiao, hearing this from you is rare. Wang Cheng. Don't be fooled by my appearance. I'm a simp, but no woman can make me bow my head. I'm just casting a wide net, that's a strategy. Chu Xiao, har har. Wang Cheng, I know you're feeling bad. Don't worry, I'll treat you tonight. I have some hot girls WeChat. They'll make you forget your troubles, and they're cheap, only $500. Full package. Chu Xiao, you should give those WeChat accounts to your readers who follow your novels. I don't need them. Wang Cheng, really not going. They're top-notch girls. Chapter 2, Young Master. Please come home. In the Yuhu Bay Villa. I'm telling you, even though we're poor, we can't lose our ambition. Stealing, robbing, or doing shady things, those are not the path we should take. Wang Cheng glanced around with a sly, sneaky look. Chu Xiao laughed and said, actually, I'm a super rich second-generation heir. My family has billions in assets waiting for me to inherit. My grandfather lives here. Pfft. Wang Cheng couldn't hold back his laughter and said, stop bragging. We've known each other for years. Do you think I don't know how broke you are? If you're really a super rich second-generation heir, then I must be the king of web novel writers with millions in royalties. Chu Xiao twitched his mouth but didn't say anything more. Using his memory from 3 years ago, he led Wang Cheng to a luxurious villa. The villa was lavish, standing at 6 stories high. Its exterior was magnificent and old-fashioned. The yard alone occupied several acres. Rather than calling it a villa, it was more like an estate. This was Jianghai City, the place where the wealthy gathered. It wasn't an exaggeration to say that every inch of land here was worth its weight in gold. This villa was worth several billion. If he remembered correctly, this should be one of his grandfather's mansions. He wondered if his grandfather still lived in Jianghai City. Why stay in such a luxurious villa and choose to wander outside as a lackey, thinking you can start from scratch? I really was a complete fool. But now that I'm back, I won't be a fool anymore. Chu Xiao stood in front of the villa, looking at the lavish decorations inside, a bitter smile on his face. He couldn't help but feel a wave of emotion. 3 years of running away. Couldn't he afford food, couldn't he afford to live, couldn't he enjoy life, and his emotions had been trampled on. It felt like a different life. On the side, Wang Cheng nudged his arm and said, hey, what are you talking about? Let us just look and leave. We'll work hard and buy our own villas in the future. Don't do anything foolish. I'm not talking nonsense. I really am a super rich second-generation heir. Chu Xiao sighed. Ding dong. Ding dong. He straightened his clothes and pressed the doorbell. Soon. Hey Tilder, who are you? A little girl's voice came through the intercom. Chu Xiao recalled a bit and said, is this Chu Lingyan? The little girl asked in confusion, huh? How do you know my name? Chu Xiao replied, I'm your older brother, Chu Xiao. When I left 3 years ago, you were only 5 years old. You should be 8 now. The little girl hung up the phone and shouted inside, Grandpa, there's someone outside saying he's my brother. Should we open the door? Inside the house, an elderly man wearing a traditional Chinese jacket, with a head of white hair but youthful features, froze for a moment. His brush fell to the floor, and after a couple of seconds, a smile appeared on his face. That foolish boy finally decided to come home. 3 years. I wonder how much has changed. The old man, named Chu Jianghe, was one of the first people to prosper during the early years of China's reform and opening up. He was also Chu Xiao's grandfather. Outside the door, Chu Xiao waited for a few minutes but no one opened the door. So, he rang the doorbell again. Soon, the little girl's voice came through the intercom again. Her childish voice said, "Grandpa asked how you're doing. Did you make your first billion? Have you made a name for yourself?" Upon hearing this, Chu Xiao remembered how 3 years ago he made a boastful declaration that he would start from nothing, not rely on anyone, and make $1 billion within 3 years to show his family that he wasn't just a lazy rich kid. If he couldn't make that $1 billion, he promised never to return. Good heavens! That boast had left him feeling utterly embarrassed. "Oh, tell Grandpa that I'm just a little short of that $1 billion," Chu Xiao said with a bitter smile. If it had been the old him, he would never have had the nerve to return and knock on the door. But after experiencing death, everything seemed clear to him now. He no longer had any rebellious feelings towards his family. Home was a safe harbor. No matter how bad things were, when you returned home, there would always be a hot meal waiting for you. The little girl's voice came again, saying, "Grandpa says you're lying." There was silence. After a few moments, Chu Xiao thought for a while and then shouted, "Old man! If you don't open the door, I'm leaving. You can't bear to see your only grandson wandering outside, can you? No way. No way. You won't even open the door for your own grandson coming home." With a loud clang, the luxurious steel door automatically opened. Inside stood an elderly man, leaning on a dragon head cane. He scolded with a frown, "You fool! Haven't you suffered enough outside? You want to leave again?" Looking at his grandfather, who had a head full of grey hair but a kind face, Chu Xiao felt his nose grow sour. He immediately fell to his knees in front of the old man and tearfully said, "Grandpa tilder tilder." The old man, Chu Jianghe, had tears in his eyes as he sighed, "It's good you're back, it's good you're back." Not far away, Wang Cheng, hiding behind a tree, gaped in shock, his eyes almost popping out of his head. What's going on? What is happening here? His good friend, whom he has known for years, is actually a super rich second-generation heir. This is worse than being killed. He thought they were both poor, but now his buddy has come back to inherit billions. How can anyone live like this? Wang Cheng clenched his teeth in jealousy, feeling like he might explode. He couldn't accept this reality, so he turned and ran away. Why did he run? He didn't even know why. He just wanted to run. Heaven above. Why? Why don't I have billions in assets waiting for me to inherit? I even tried to comfort him earlier. Who the hell is going to comfort me? Life's unfair. Ding. Congratulations, host. You successfully showed off and slapped your friend's face, arousing extreme envy and jealousy. Reward, 1,000 points. Keep it up. The system's voice was as emotionless as ever. Chu Xiao turned around, about to introduce Wang Cheng to his grandfather, but when he looked around, Wang Cheng had disappeared. He had just been there a moment ago. Where did he go? Now that you're back, you should go to Li's group tomorrow. That marriage agreement from 3 years ago needs to be settled. They've been waiting for you. Chu Jianghe smiled and said. Chu Xiao came back to his senses and said, "Oh, I got it." 3 years ago, he had a huge argument with his family, ran away, and rejected the arranged marriage because he wanted to pursue free love. Now that he's back. Just like Grandpa said, this matter had to come to a conclusion. Chapter 3, X-ray vision. Awesome. The next morning, the golden sunlight streamed in through the window. Chu Xiao rubbed his eyes, lifted the luxurious velvet quilt, and climbed out of the antique golden silk nanwood bed. Stretching lazily, he gazed at the small lake pavilion outside the window, feeling a wave of emotion. This house exuded an air of ancient elegance while still maintaining an extravagant and noble feel. If he remembered correctly, this antique golden silk nanwood bed beneath him was something his grandfather had bought at an auction for over 60 million back in the day. Since then, it had always been his. Just look at how well his family treated him. Doesn't it feel great to be a good little boy? And this arranged marriage thing, what a good deal. How many bachelors would dream of something like this? In today's society, ordinary families struggle to find a wife, get married, and have children. The pressure is immense: housing, cars, dowries, wedding expenses. What doesn't he cost money? Ding! Host, would you like to open today's free feel-good prop pool for selection? The system's voice sounded. Chu Xiao grinned. Thanks, system. Go ahead and open it. Ding! The beginner feel-good prop pool is being randomly selected. Congratulations, host. You have received the following 3 options. Please choose one. Godly gambling skill. This ability comes from a generic feel-good novel. Once selected, their host will gain godly gambling skills, making you the ultimate gambling master. No one can rival you. Additionally, your luck will increase by 100% when participating in any gambling activities. Superb driving skills. This ability comes from a ridiculous feel-good novel. Once selected, their host will possess exceptional driving skills, making all other drivers look like trash. X-ray vision. This ability comes from a brainless feel-good novel. Once selected, their host will possess X-ray vision. Note, the feel-good props refresh daily and will not disappear. The host can also use pleasure points to make additional purchases. The system's voice continued. What? X-ray vision. This ability was simply heaven-defying. Just thinking about it got him excited. Especially since today he had to meet his fiancée at the Lee group. Let us take a quick peek and check things out first, right? That's not too much to ask, is it? System, please select the X-ray vision for me. Don't overthink it, I'm a respectable person. Chu Xiao said, clearing his throat without any shame. Ding! Congratulations, host. X-ray vision has been selected and the ability is being bound. In the next moment, Chu Xiao felt a chill in his eyes. He blinked and said, tilde, this is indeed a great skill. Just then, the door to his room opened, and a little head popped in. A sweet voice rang out, Big brother, Grandpa said it's time to get up and eat. It was none other than his younger sister, Chulingyan. Chu Xiao's mind raced, and he immediately deactivated the X-ray vision ability. As good as the ability was, it couldn't be used recklessly. Who knew what he'd end up seeing? That could result in a lot of trouble. During breakfast, Grandpa Chujangi smiled and said, Grandson, what is your plan for today when you go to Lee Group? Chu Xiao was momentarily stunned, then asked, Didn't you already arrange everything, Grandpa? I'll just go meet my fiancée, have a date, maybe go for a meal or a movie. What is the big deal? Grandpa Chujangi squinted his eyes and smiled. 3 years ago, you rejected the marriage, which made things awkward for both families. Now, the Lee Group is very powerful and rising. The girl is capable and has big ideas. If you just show up without any preparation, you might get snubbed. Chu Xiao was confused but seemed to understand vaguely. He blurted out, Grandpa. You didn't plan anything, did you? Grandpa Chujangi nodded. Correct. 3 years ago, you didn't want her, and they broke off the engagement. So now, you have to handle this yourself. Broke off the engagement. Holy shit. Chu Xiao was taken aback and said, Since they've broken off the engagement, why are we still trying to chase them? If they want to cancel it, so be it. We'll just move on. You can arrange some other matches for me, like the Wang family's daughter, the Zhang family's, or Liu family's. I'm not picky. Hearing his grandson's response, Chujangi couldn't help but feel a bit emotional. It seemed that the years spent out there had made Chu Xiao more mature and tactful. You brat, you think it's that easy? Do you think finding a good wife to strengthen 3 generations of the family is a simple task? Let me tell you, this is a big family, a large group. I wouldn't say much, but 3 years ago, you made a mistake and now need to fix it. You need to get that Li family's daughter back. I like her, and more importantly, she is the only child in the Li family. Understand? Grandpa, what if I can't win her back? If you can't win her back, then all the assets of the Chu family will go to your younger brother. Younger brother? What younger brother? Chu Xiao was instantly stunned. In his memory, he was the only child. Where did this younger brother come from? Grandpa Chujangi grunted and said, Your father remarried and had a fat son, named Chu Jie. He's already 2.5 years old. Chu Xiao. Damn. Didn't he say he would only love my mother and never marry again? Men's words are all lies. My mom must be looking down on him from the underworld, and she will never forgive him. Well, it's your own fault. If you had fought with him and run away, would he have remarried? Now look at what you've done. Originally, 3 years ago, if you had just agreed to the marriage with the Lee family and learned the ropes at the group, within a few years, you would have been in charge. But now, you've wasted 3 years, and the Chu group is full of people your stepmother has arranged. Want to inherit the family business? Tough luck. Grandpa Chujangi deliberately said, adding a touch of sarcasm. Hearing this, Chu Xiao was completely stunned. How did a younger brother suddenly appear, competing for the inheritance? And this stepmother, she seemed to be quite a powerful figure, not someone to be trifled with. This was bad news. All right. I get it, Grandpa. I'll head out now. Where do you think you're going, you fool? Didn't you say I should go to Lee Group? I'll check out how the Lee family's daughter looks, and see if she's got a good figure. If she does, I'll give it a shot. If she doesn't, forget it. I've already checked. She's as beautiful as a fairy, fair-skinned, and stunning. Grandpa, your smile is so creepy. Get lost. Chapter for these cars are all mine. Ding dong. Your Alipay account has received 30 million yuan. Chu Xiao looked at the receipt notification on his phone, and there was no resistance in his heart. Looking at his grandfather's expression, it was calm and there was no ripple on his face. What's this little pocket money? We have plenty of money. If you have money, it would be a waste if you don't spend it. Why put yourself in a difficult position? When I think of my past self, I was unwilling to accept financial support from my family. I felt ashamed to receive tens of thousands of yuan in pocket money every month when I was in school. I couldn't even hold my head up in front of my classmates. I really don't know what was going on in my brain at that time. Was I a complete idiot? Thinking about it now, it's absolutely ridiculous. Thank you for the reward, Grandpa. I will go pick up girls right now and make sure to give our Chu family more branches and leaves. Chu Xiao pocketed his phone and prepared to leave. The old man Chu Jianghe said unhappily, how can you meet people when you are so sloppy? It's simply outrageous. When your grandfather was young. Chu Xiao, oh. In fact, he wasn't dressed sloppily, just a little casually. I have arranged a makeup artist for you, who will be here soon. By the way, your grandpa, will be going on a long trip soon. So your sister will need you to take care of her. You must ensure her safety and keep her within your sight at all times. Do you understand me? Oh, take care of my sister. Leave it to me. Chu Xiao touched the tip of his nose and looked at his innocent sister Chu Lingyin. The little girl had red lips, white teeth, lively eyes, and was quite cute, just like a porcelain doll. So I agreed without thinking. After all, she is my own sister, the person closest to me by blood in this world. After dinner, the makeup artist team also arrived. They quickly took various measurements of Chu Xiao, including the width of his shoulders, waist, face, and feet. It took more than an hour to fix it. Don't say that. After being carefully dressed up by the makeup artist team, Chu Xiao's appearance and temperament instantly improved by 7 or 8 levels, and he transformed from an ordinary person into a tall, rich and handsome man. As the ancient said, clothes make the man and saddles make their horse. This is true. After putting on the small suit and tying the small tie, Chu Xiao felt that he had a bit of idle baggage. Grandpa, how much did you pay for this makeup artist team? They are amazing. They dressed me up like a star. I feel so handsome now. Chu Xiao flattered deliberately. The old man Chu Jianghe smiled but said nothing. He shook his head and said, not much, not much. They only spend tens of thousands each time. It's just a small amount of money. I have already paid you a yearly salary. They will come here every week to provide you with makeup services. Your next task is to bring back the daughter of the Li family. Then get married and have children, so that I can also have a great-grandson. Chu Xiao didn't know whether to laugh or cry. My lord. You put a lot of pressure on me, your grandson, by doing this. After all, you can't force a relationship between a man and a woman. What if the daughter of the Li family doesn't like me? Old man Chu Jianghe shook his head and didn't respond. He just took out his pocket watch and took a look. It's getting late. Go to the garage and choose a car. You can drive whichever one you like. They are all registered in your name. Oh, then I'll go choose a car. Come to the underground garage. Looking at the luxury sports cars, Chu Xiao was still a little surprised and asked, "These are all mine." "Master, these are all bought by the old man. You have been away from home for 3 years, and every time the old man misses you, he will buy you a car and put it in the garage. He knows that you like sports cars the most. In addition to these, there are also many real estates and manors all over the country, all bought by the old man in your name. The old man has been waiting for you to come back. Now that you're back, don't leave again. Stay with him more." An old butler in a black tuxedo spoke with a smile behind him. The old housekeeper's name was Wang Defer. Chu Xiao had called him Debo since he was a child. He looked to be about 70 or 80 years old. It was said that he was a playmate of Chu Xiao's grandfather who grew up with him. Later, he became the housekeeper of this family. He had no children and was a very kind person. No, I'm going to stay at home from now on," Chu Xiao said half-jokingly, but he knew in his heart that this was the life guarantee left for him by his grandfather. After all, his father has found him a stepmother and a younger brother. "I don't know how to fight over property from now on." The old butler held a bunch of luxury car keys and asked with a smile, "Master, which car are you going to drive to meet the daughter of the Li family?" "Deb, which one do you think I should drive?" Chu Xiao asked back. Without even thinking, the old butler pointed to a golden supercar with a hint of dark red not far away and said, "Then let's drive this one. This is the global limited edition Lotus Avenger, with luxurious configurations, especially the exterior paint, which is all gold-plated. And the gold is mixed with a lot of ruby powder, which is luxurious and wild, and most suitable for a young master of your age." Chu Xiao walked quickly to the Lotus Avenger. The more he looked at it, the more he liked it. He subconsciously asked, "How much is this car?" The old butler smiled and said, "The regular model only costs more than 20 million, but the one in front of you was custom made by the old master and sold for more than 80 million. Now, the price should have dropped. After all, this kind of car can't be sold. It's purely because the old master is in a good mood and bought it for you to show off." Hiss. "An 80 million car? Bought it for me to show off? Nima. My grandfather is too arrogant and ostentatious. It's really wasteful when you have money." Chu Xiao felt his scalp tingling. 3 years of poverty really limited his imagination, so he said without hesitation, "That's it, give me the key quickly." "Okay, master." The old butler immediately found the key and handed it to Chu Xiao. Even the car key is custom made. The gold shell is inlaid with various gems and diamonds. Its shape resembles a dragon head, a true work of art. Chu Xiao pressed the key, and the originally quiet underground garage suddenly burst into a roar. Boom 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 tilde tilde. Lotus Avenger roared and the two front lights lit up. Listen to the roar that sounds like a dragon-s roar and a tiger-s roar. My blood is boiling. Fuck, this is so cool. If you drive this car out, you have to act cool, right? Chu Xiao opened the car door, put his younger sister Chu Lingyan in first, fastened her seatbelt, and then sat down in the driver's seat. Luxury cars are just different. I feel extremely comfortable sitting inside, and my mood becomes extremely arrogant. Holding the steering wheel, Chu Xiao felt as if he was the master of his destiny. He had the illusion that he was invincible and looked down on the world. That's right. This is the life I was supposed to enjoy. Chapter 5. I have extraordinary driving skills. What can I do? Traffic regulations don't allow it. Oh, right. System, I remember there seems to be a cheat code called Superb Driving Skills in today's item pool. How many points would it cost to buy it extra? Chu Xiao asked himself secretly in his heart. Bite. Extraordinary driving skills. This cheat code comes from a mediocre and cool novel. Once selected, the host will have extraordinary driving skills, and any driver in front of you will be nothing but trash. This cheat code is worth an extra 500 points. Will the host buy it? Your current balance of cool points is 1,224 points, which is more than enough for the purchase. The system voice sounded. Chu Xiao secretly rejoiced and said, "Does it only take 500 points? I'll buy it." Bite. Consume 500 points of fun points. Congratulations on getting the golden finger, superb driving skills. I wish you a happy life. The system's voice flashed by. The next moment, Chu Xiao felt that he had gained a lot of driving knowledge in his head. The hand holding the steering wheel was like holding the hand of his first love, and the foot stepping on the accelerator was like immediately following. Step on the accelerator. Boom. The dark gold Lotus Avenger rushed out like a wild horse. The old housekeeper was so frightened when he saw this that he broke out in a cold sweat. He then shouted loudly, "Master! Master! Drive slower. The young lady is still in your car. Don't scare her." Chu Xiao couldn't hear anything at this moment. There was only the rumbling sound of the engine in his ears. He felt his blood boiling. Chu Lingyan, who was sitting in the back seat, was frightened at first and her face turned pale. But after a few minutes of adjustment, she became extremely excited and laughed like a silver bell. "Brother, brother! Drive faster! Drive faster! Okay, sit tight." Chu Xiao drove at full speed, and with his extraordinary driving skills, he is the undisputed god of driving. And at this moment, suddenly, I received a system notification sound in my mind. Bite. Become jealous of passers-by and gain 1 cool point. Bite. Be envied by passers-by and gain 1 cool point. Bite. 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 In just a few minutes, Chu Xiao gained more than 10 points of satisfaction. You can gain several points in about 1 minute. Although the speed of earning money is not as fast as beating people, it is also considerable. Just drive a luxury car and hang around in crowded places to get some cool points. It's so easy. Chu Xiao was secretly ecstatic. He didn't expect that he could gain points in this way. It was so cool and he didn't need to use his brain at all. It seems that I will have to drive my luxury car out every day to drive around and reap some cool points. It's worth it. Chu Xiao thought so in his heart. He had decided that he would strictly regulate his life in the future and make creating pleasure and obtaining pleasure points his top priority. As for other things, they were not within his consideration at all. The vehicle in front of you, please stop immediately. You are speeding. At this moment, a police motorcycle caught up from behind. The rider was a young female traffic police officer who looked to be in her 20s. She chased the car while shouting, "Stop! I'm warning you to stop. Do you hear me?" Chu Xiao cursed in his heart and stepped on the brakes quickly. The golden Lotus Avenger stopped steadily on the side of the road, attracting many passers-by to stop and watch, and many people took out their mobile phones to take pictures secretly. Wow Tilder, what kind of car is that? It's so cool. I've never seen it before. I estimate it's worth several million at least. Anyone who drives a car like this must be a rich second generation. I'm so envious. The gap between people is so huge. Some passers-by were whispering not far away. The car door opened, and Chu Xiao stepped out. He was wearing a pair of gold-rimmed sunglasses and a well-tailored suit, and looked very cool and handsome. He grinned and said, "I'm sorry, I just picked up a new car, and I was a little excited. I wasn't paying attention for a moment. I have no objection to any fine you give me." The young female traffic police looked him up and down and thought that this handsome boy looked quite arrogant and domineering on the outside, but she didn't expect that he was so polite when he spoke. "The speed limit on this road is 80, but you were driving over 180 just now, right? This is considered serious speeding. What if there is a car accident? Have you ever considered the safety of yourself and others? I will punish you on the spot, deduct 6 points, and fine you 500. Do you have any objection?" she said seriously. Chu Xiao nodded seriously, but his eyes were flickering. He didn't know when the ability of X-ray vision was activated. "Don't say that. This little policewoman has a really hot body and is well worth it. Pink and tender skin. If her body proportions are scored out of 100, she would definitely score above 90. There is not a trace of excess fat on her body, her abs are also very nice, and she is very slender. It is simply the best of the best." The young female traffic police officer noticed that there was something wrong with Chu Xiao's eyes, so she frowned and shouted, "Hey, I'm talking to you, are you listening carefully?" I'm listening carefully, Tilder." Chu Xiao came back to his senses and looked at her face, and was surprised to find that she was also very good looking, with delicate features and a heroic demeanor, with a sense of uniform seduction. "System, if I remember correctly, It seems that picking up girls can also increase the pleasure points, right? This little policewoman looks amazing, with a good figure and a pretty face. If I pick her up, will I get a lot of pleasure points? Chu Xiao asked secretly. Bite. You can get a lot of points by winning the hearts of beautiful women. The cool point value is determined based on the other party's comprehensive evaluation, not just limited to the other party's appearance. Also, appearance is the least rewarding option. The system responds. Chu Xiao was a little confused and asked again, what aspects does this comprehensive evaluation include? Comprehensive evaluation includes assets, background, popularity, culture, figure, voice, appearance. So that's how it is. Chu Xiao pinched his chin thoughtfully. According to the system, the higher the opponent's overall evaluation, the more points you will get after conquering him. From this point of view, it seems quite reasonable. Brother? They've already gone far away, why are you still looking? Aren't we going to look for my sister-in-law? A childish voice sounded in his ears, disrupting Chu Xiao's thoughts. The girl Chu Lingyan was tilting her head and looking at Chu Xiao with an innocent face. At her young age, how could she know the secrets in Chu Xiao's heart? What sister-in-law? It's not even a matter of time. What if the daughter of the Li family doesn't like me, your eldest brother? Wouldn't that be embarrassing? Chu Xiao put away the ticket and took a glance at it. He was surprised to find a phone number in the corner of the ticket. No need to guess, this must be the contact information of the little policewoman just now. Yo-ho! Is she hinting that I should ask her out? It seems that driving a luxury car is really different. Beautiful girls even come up to you and leave their contact information. Chu Xiao raised his lips, not taking it too seriously. After all, with his current status and background, there would be many beauties trying to get close to him in the future. There was no need to rush. I took out my cell phone and checked the time. It was already past 11 o'clock, almost noon. Chapter 6 Systematic Adventure Mission. Sorry. I already have a boyfriend. In a spacious and gorgeous office on the top floor of the Li Group business building, sunlight shines through the huge floor-to-ceiling windows onto the floor, illuminating the entire room. Behind the desk, Li Qingshua's gaze rested on a photo in her hand. Her brows were slightly furrowed, and a hint of displeasure flashed in her clear and bright eyes. The person in the photo was undoubtedly Chu Xiao from 3 years ago, except that Chu Xiao was very fat at that time and looked very bloated. Although the Li family had decided to cancel the engagement and had secretly discussed it with the elders of the Chu family, the two families did not break up, and there was no official announcement of the cancellation of the engagement. So in the eyes of outsiders, the Li and Chu families are still in a state of marriage, and their business cooperation has never stopped over the years, and on the surface they are very harmonious. For the sake of their own interests, the elders of both families decided to wait and see for a few years. What if that silly boy changes his mind? This wait lasted for 3 years. To others, it may not be a big deal. But for Li Qingxue, it was a great shame. She was extremely beautiful, very rich and powerful, and highly educated. The people pursuing her lined up from here to France. A family marriage was actually rejected by a fat guy. Why? She was very angry. At the same time, she felt very fortunate, because she hated this kind of family marriage from the bottom of her heart. In comparison, she longed for free love more. Unfortunately, over the years, no man has been able to enter her heart. This made her very distressed. However, recently, she discovered that one of the bodyguards around her is very good. He is a strong man who retired from a foreign special forces. His name is Yifan, and he is about the same age as her. He is strong, courageous, handsome, and full of masculinity. Although he is currently just a small security guard, based on the insight Li Qingxue has accumulated over the years, she feels that Yifan will definitely achieve something in the future. At least he is much more reliable than those rich second generations she has come into contact with. Boom 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 tilde tilde. A knock on the door interrupted her thoughts. Li Qingxue came back to her senses and put away the photo. Come in. Boss, someone is looking for you downstairs. He said he has an appointment with you for lunch. His name is Chu Xiao. The secretary with a silly look on her face pushed the door open and said. Hear this. Li Qingshue's pupils contracted. What did you say his name was? The cute little secretary said, he said his name is Chu Xiao, and he brought a little girl with him. A hint of frost appeared on Li Qingshue's beautiful face, and she thought to herself, Chu Xiao, You dare to bring a female companion when you come to see me for the first time, are you trying to intimidate me? She thought for a moment and said coldly, okay, I understand, you let him wait outside. The cute little secretary closed the door and left. Li Qingxue thought for a moment, picked up the phone and dialed the landline in the security room. Ask Yifan to come over, I have something to talk to him about. The corners of her mouth turned up, and I don't know what she was thinking. The other side. On the side of the road below the Li Group building, Chu Xiao sat in the car, took a sip of milk tea, and opened the system interface to check it out of boredom. He was surprised to find that his pleasure point value had increased by more than 300, and was still increasing continuously, sometimes increasing by several points in a minute. I'll go. When did so many cool points appear? He flipped through the records. I found that these pleasure points almost all came from the envy and jealousy of passers-by, as well as a deep hatred of the rich. It seems that as long as you act cool, you can get a steady stream of cool points. Chu Xiao grinned foolishly. At the side, Sister Chu Lingyan pouted with her little mouth, her legs half hanging in the air, and she whispered, "Brother, we have been waiting for 30 minutes. Why hasn't sister-in-law come down yet? I'm hungry." Chu Xiao looked down at his watch and said, "Then let's go eat first." Chu Lingyan tilted her head and said in a baby voice, "Aren't we waiting for sister-in-law?" Chu Xiao snorted coldly, "Wait for nothing. 30 minutes, even if she is in the sky, she should come down. She deliberately doesn't want to see us, so we can't just wait like idiots, right? You are my only sister, what if she gets hungry and thin?" Chu Lingyan smiled and said, "Yeah, big brother, you are so nice to me." Just as Chu Xiao was about to step on the accelerator, a beautiful figure suddenly walked out from the door of the Li Group building. She was wearing a white dress, her skin was as white as snow, her eyes were clear and bright, and her long black hair was draped over her shoulders like a waterfall. Even without makeup, she was enough to stun the crowd. What a pretty chick! However, there was a man next to this girl. He was wearing a black suit, had a tall and straight figure, a strong and handsome face, and looked very manly. Chu Xiao took a closer look and was shocked. Oh my god, wasn't she his fiancée Li Qingxue? Why did you bring a man down with you? What does it mean? Already in a relationship? Are you showing off your love by taking your little wolfhound out for a walk? Li Qingxue saw the dark gold Lotus Avenger parked on the side of the road at a glance, and she walked over. After all, only young rich second generations like Chu Xiao could drive such a luxury car. Brother, there is a man next to my sister-in-law. Is she cheating on her husband? Chu Lingyan whispered while lying behind the car window. Chu Xiao didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He pushed open the car door and walked out, saying naturally, "Hello, Miss Li." When Li Qingxue saw Chu Xiao, a hint of doubt flashed in her eyes. The Chu Xiao in her memory was clearly a greasy fat man, and he had nothing to do with the man in front of her who was quite handsome. How could she know that Chu Xiao had been away from home for 3 years, and because he was too poor to afford food, he had lost weight from a 200-pound fat man to 130 pounds? Are you Chu Xiao? Li Qingxue spoke with a tone of surprise, but there was no smile on her face, and a hint of displeasure flashed in her eyes. This dislike probably comes from instinctive resistance. After all, she has hated Chu Xiao for 3 years and has been hating this fat guy all the time. You can imagine how vindictive women are. Chu Xiao kept smiling and said, 3 years ago. As soon as he opened his mouth, Li Qingxue interrupted him immediately, "Don't mention what happened 3 years ago. I already have a boyfriend. So, just think of it as a joke between our elders. We can be friends, but don't think too much about it." She immediately closed the topic. It's true. It was just as difficult as Grandpa expected. Chu Xiao was speechless. In fact, he didn't care about Li Qingxue at all. No matter whether you were the eldest daughter of Li family or the eldest daughter of Wang family, you were just a woman and a tool for him to extract pleasure points. If it weren't for the old man's expectations, Chu Xiao would not have endured this. Bite. A top-notch goddess has been detected, meeting the mission conditions. Release adventure mission, conquer goddess Li Qingxue, go and conquer her. Task reward, 9,999 points of satisfaction. This mission is an adventure mission, the host can choose whether to accept it. The system's voice sounded in my mind. Hiss. 9,999 points worth of fun. Give so much. Chu Xiao took a deep breath, but quickly calmed down. Although the system gave him a lot of points, It also showed that the task was very difficult. Forget it, even though you gave me a lot of points, Tomsy, I still have a boyfriend. A gentleman doesn't take someone else's love away. I still have this bottom line. We can't abandon our moral integrity for a little bit of points. Besides, I don't want to be a bootlicker and chase after others. I'm rich and powerful now, and I'm a decent person. I have plenty of girls I want. I'm going to ask the little policewoman out to play poker tonight. It's just a little bit of fun. You can get it if you pretend to be cool. Chapter 7. She's lying. The Son of Destiny. Yifan? A show of strength. Name, Li Qingxue. Age, 26. Height, 175 centimeters. Weight, 58 kilograms. Appearance, 98 out of 100. Body, 99 out of 100. Background, successor to the Li Group. Culture, Doctor of Finance. Specialties, business, racing, horse racing, skiing, poetry, music, art, fishing. Hobbies, I like to explore delicious food. She thinks men who can cook are the most attractive. Number of relationships, 0. Never been in a relationship. Favorability towards their host, -100. Full value is 100. Strategy reward, 9,999 points. After taking a look at the system prompt, Chu Xiao exclaimed how awesome it was. This daughter of the Li Group is simply an all-rounder with so many specialties. Etc. Love times 0? Never been in love. Then why did she just say she had a boyfriend? Chu Xiao glanced at Yifan, who was beside Li Qingxue, and looked at him carefully. The two people were not very close to each other, and there was an obvious feeling of a superior-subordinate relationship between them. Oh. So he's a shill. Chu Xiao's eyes sparkled as he spoke. Miss Li is right. Let's not talk about what happened 3 years ago. Family marriages are ridiculous. Marriage is a big deal. It's about the relationship between two people and a lifetime. How can it be tied together just for the sake of profit? Hearing this, Li Qingxue was a little surprised. She suddenly felt that although Chu Xiao looked much more mature on the surface, he was actually still a child who had not grown up. As heirs of a wealthy family, how can their marriage be arbitrary? If they are not together for profit, is it because of love? Don't be ridiculous. She asked, so what's the point of you coming here today? Chu Xiao pretended to be apologetic and said, I left without saying goodbye 3 years ago, which made the Li family lose face. Today I came here specially to apologize. I should say sorry to you about this matter. Although I don't know what you think about that matter, it should be similar to mine. However, since we have talked about it, I think for the sake of our two families to continue to cooperate in the future, we should still be friends. I don't know if Miss Li is willing. He spoke slowly and logically, with reason and dignity. This made Li Qingxue look at Chu Xiao with a higher opinion of him, and her disgust towards Chu Xiao also decreased a little. She stared at Chu Xiao for a few seconds, as if she wanted to see through this man who was 2 years younger than her. Bite. Li Qingxue's favorability towards their host +20. Current favorability, -80. Host, please keep up the good work. Chu Xiao was slightly stunned. It seemed that Li Qingxue was not that petty. He just said a few nice words and his favorability increased. Seeing that Li Qingxue was still silent, Chu Xiao took advantage of the situation and said, the weather is nice today, how about we have a meal together? The man next to you should be your boyfriend, right? He is really handsome, what's his name? Li Qingxue nodded slightly and introduced, well, his name is Yifan, and he is my new boyfriend. On the side, Yifan, who had been silent all the time, stepped forward, extended his hand, and said politely, hello, Mr. Chu. Chu Xiao smiled and stretched out his hand without any precautions, but he soon found something wrong. His palm was held by the other party, as if it was held by an iron clamp, and his bones were so painful that they hurt. What's the meaning? Are you trying to show me your power? Is there something wrong with this kid named Yifan? Just be a stooge, why are you getting so into the role? Do you think you are Shui Jiqian? Could it be that this guy likes Li Qingxue, so he wants to take advantage of me? Or is there some other inside story? Bite. Strong hostility detected. From a son of destiny. Note, if you slap the son of luck in the face, you can get a lot of cool points. Name, Yifan. Age, 29. Height, 185 centimeters. Identity: bodyguard, killer, mercenary, martial artist. Level of cultivation: martial arts master. Proficient in boxing, swordsmanship, gun skills, car skills. Hiss. What the hell? Son of Destiny. In other words, this guy named Yifan in front of him is like the protagonist of a novel. Chu Xiao's face looked calm, but he was actually sneering in his heart. I don't care who you are, you all have to bow down in front of me, the protagonist who has a cool writing system. However, a piercing pain soon came from the palm of my hand. Damn it. Damn it. This kid is going to kill me. System. Do I have enough points now to unlock the Shuangwen prop pool? Bite. Host, your current cool point value is 1023 points. The cost of opening the primary Shuangwen prop pool is 1000 points. Do I need to pay to activate it? The system asked politely. Open. Must open. Can Brother Tongzi please give me a strength type, or a physical strength type? If that doesn't work, a martial arts secret book will do too. Chu Xiao's mind moved. Bite. Consume 1000 points of fun points. Random selection from the primary cool article prop pool. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the following 3 options, please choose one. Born with great strength, this cheat code comes from a common eunuch novel. Once selected, you will have a terrifying power far beyond your own. The increase is hundreds of times. Light Kung Fu floating on water, this cheat code comes from a common martial arts novel. Once selected, their host will have a very high light Kung Fu, as light as a swallow, and can step on snow without leaving any trace. Taiji Xingyi Baguazhang, this cheat code comes from a common martial arts novel. Once selected, you will directly comprehend this advanced martial arts and achieve Mahayana cultivation. Note, the refreshed Shuangwen props will not disappear and can be purchased with Shuang points. The system panel appears. Awesome. You are worthy of being my brother Tongzi. You actually gave me 3 cheat codes that increase my combat power at once. I love it. These 3 gold fingers are all good. First, give me some natural supernatural power to deal with the emergency. When I have enough points, I will buy the Bagua palm. Chu Xiao made his choice without hesitation. Although Tai Chi Xingyi Bagua Zhong is more cost effective, it does not fit the current situation. Anyway, you can buy it later, sooner or later. A moment. He felt the blood in his body boiling, his heart beating stronger, and his muscles seemed to be activated. Good, good, good. You shook hands with me on purpose, trying to embarrass me, right? Chu Xiao sneered in his heart and immediately exerted force with his palm, tightly grasping Yifan's right hand. In an instant, Yifan's face changed with shock. He felt a sharp pain in his palm and his bones creaked from being squeezed. What's going on? How come this kid suddenly exerted such great strength? Hee. But I only used 30% of my strength. Since he wants to play, I will play with him. Yifan thought so in his heart, feeling that he had a sure win. He didn't think that a playboy could have much strength. After all, he was a martial arts master and his strength far exceeded that of ordinary people. But soon, he couldn't laugh anymore. He suddenly realized that no matter how hard he tried, he could not defeat his opponent in strength, and the pain in his palm was getting worse. If this continues, his palm will be crushed. How is this possible? Yifan was filled with shock and anger. If he was abroad, he would have used his killing move without hesitation to kill this unpleasant-looking second-generation dandy in front of him. But, this is the country, he dare not act blatantly. Chapter 8 I'll show you my acting skills. Do you dare to say anything? Chu Xiao was still exerting his strength. He was in a good mood. The system really loved me. This golden finger that gave him great strength was simply awesome. So far, Chu Xiao has only used a little bit of strength. Looking at Yifan, the son of luck, his face had already turned red, and his palms were so painful that his gums were bleeding. He was extremely angry and couldn't figure it out. Why is this happening? The other party was obviously just a dandy boy, how could he possess such terrifying power? And judging from his appearance, it seemed that he did not use his full strength, and even seemed to be doing it with ease. Yifan was confused, and a feeling of indomitable spirit and resentment rose in his heart. He was an orphan since childhood and grew up in a killer organization. Because he offended someone he shouldn't have offended, he later went abroad to join the mercenaries. The first half of his life can be said to be extremely difficult. Everything he has now is the result of his own hard work, but why can't he compare to this spoiled rich second-generation guy in front of him? Yifan couldn't figure it out, and his heart was filled with hatred and anger, which immediately stimulated his inner potential. He suddenly seemed to understand something, and his strength was constantly increasing. But soon, he was dumbfounded again. He found that he still couldn't surpass Chu Xiao in strength, and he didn't even have a chance to pull his hand away. Beads of sweat began to appear on Yifan's forehead. At this moment, Li Qingxue on the side also reacted and looked at the palms of the two people with a frown. Noticing her gaze, Chu Xiao's mind moved, and his face immediately showed a very painful expression. His body trembled, and his cheeks twitched as he said, "R. It hurts. Let go. Brother Yi, let me go." As he spoke, he continued to increase the strength of his palm, tightly gripping Yifan's hand, wanting to see the other party's frustrated expression. Hearing this, Yifan was a little confused. He was stunned for 2 seconds before he reacted. His eyes widened and were filled with anger. But because of his face, he couldn't say that he was hurt by Chu Xiao's pinch, so he could only grit his teeth and pretend to smile calmly. Li Qingxue immediately said in a deep voice, "Yifan, let go quickly, don't hurt Chu Xiao." Yifan felt bitter and angry. He wanted to let go of his hand more than anyone else, but there was nothing he could do. It was obvious that Chu Xiao was holding his hand tightly. But for the sake of face, he could only hold on and not say a word. "R. It hurts, Brother Yi, please let go, it seems there is no grudge between us." Chu Xiao had already burst out laughing in his heart, but his face maintained a very painful expression. His hands were tightly holding Yifan, thinking to himself, "I can't stop playing with you. You want to embarrass me, right? Get it clear. I have a cool writing system." At this moment, a childish voice rang out, "Bad guy, let my brother go." The little girl Chu Lingyan pushed open the car door anxiously, ran quickly to Yifan, opened her mouth and bit Yifan's arm, hitting and kicking him, looking like she was going to fight to the death. Chu Xiao also let go of his hand at this time. "Brother, are you okay? Does your hand hurt? Let me blow on it for you." "Oh tilde, oh tilde." Chu Lingyan's voice sounded a little tearful, with tears sparkling in her dark eyes. "It's okay. It doesn't hurt." Chu Xiao felt warm in his heart and liked his sister more and more. Seeing this scene, Li Qingxue felt inexplicably guilty. She couldn't help but glared at Yifan fiercely and said in a cold tone, "Go back. I don't need you to follow me today." Yifan opened his mouth and wanted to say something, but in the end he said nothing. He just stared at Chu Xiao coldly for a long time, feeling completely jealous. He secretly swore that he would kill Chu Xiao's entire family, bring Chu Xiao to ruin, and make Chu Xiao kneel before him and cry and beg. Thinking about that scene, Yifan felt much better. Bite. Congratulations to their host, Li Qingshue's favorability towards you has increased by 20 points. Current favorability, -60. Bite. The son of luck, Yifan, has a much stronger hatred towards you, turning it into murderous intent. Bite. Congratulations to their host for slapping the lucky son Yifan in the face in a fancy way, and the joy point value was critically hit, gaining 999 joy points. Current balance of cool points, 1022. Congratulations host, you have finally mastered the secret of face slapping. Please keep up the good work. The system prompt sound flashed gently. Oh my god. It actually added 999 points of satisfaction. Huge profits. It seems that I have to ask Yifan out to play more often in the future to reap the rewards. This kind of lucky child is suitable to be a good friend. Is your hand okay? Do you need to go to the hospital? Li Qingxue asked with some concern. After all, it was her people who hurt Chu Xiao, and she felt sorry for Chu Xiao from the bottom of her heart. Chu Xiao waved his hands pretending to be in pain, and said with a forced smile, "It's okay, Brother Yi was just joking with me, don't let him go, we still have to go eat together." Seeing how generous he was, Li Qingxue felt even more sorry for Chu Xiao. At the same time, she also thought that Chu Xiao was a very good person, polite, modest and kind. He was very different from those second-generation rich boys she knew. Bite. Congratulations to their host, Li Qingshue's favorability towards you has increased by 10 points. Current favorability, -50. TSK. At this rate, Li Qingshue's favorability towards me would become positive in a few days. There is hope for the strategy. Chu Xiao thought to himself, then turned his head to look at Yifan, who had turned around and was about to leave, and shouted, "Brother Yi, don't go. I know you were joking with me just now. It's all my fault that I'm too weak. Don't bother with me. Let's go eat together. We are still good friends. In the future, we will work together and become business partners together." Hearing these words, Yifan subconsciously stopped in his tracks. He gritted his teeth secretly, and his murderous intent towards Chu Xiao deepened. This rich second generation who is pretending to be a pig but actually wants to eat the tiger. Although you are very strong. However, you have offended the wrong person. Since you want to die, I will grant your wish. Yifan turned around slowly but did not speak. He glanced at Li Qingxue and found that there was a hint of disgust in the other's eyes towards him. Hateful. Because of this playboy named Chu Xiao, Li Qingxue actually started to hate herself a little. No, I can't just leave like this. Today is the best opportunity to get in touch with Li Qingxue. The fact that she asked me to pretend to be her boyfriend shows that she has some feelings for me. As long as he performs well and wins Li Qingxue's heart, then the tens of billions of assets of the Li Group will all be in Yifan's pocket in the future. Yifan narrowed his eyes slightly, clenched his fists and smiled. Since Brother Chu is not angry, then I will stay and have dinner together. Let's get to know each other better. As he spoke, he hinted at Chu Xiao with his eyes, and there was a strong murderous intent in his eyes. However, he was only concerned with his own little thoughts and didn't notice that Li Qingxue frowned slightly, obviously showing some displeasure. Chapter 9 triggers a mandatory mission. Li Qingxue felt a little unhappy when she saw that Yifan dared to disobey her orders and decided to stay for dinner on his own. Just a bodyguard. This is too much of an insult. Did I misjudge the person before? Noticing the change in her eyes, Yifan frowned secretly. It was not easy for him to have the ability to read people's expressions to get to this point, but he still decided to bite the bullet and go to dinner together. In the previous contest, Chu Xiao had defeated Yifan, and Yifan felt extremely unhappy and angry. As the son of destiny, he must regain his face. Chu Xiao was also relieved. He was afraid that Yifan would leave as a cash withdrawal opportunity. After all, a slap in the face can earn you 999 points of satisfaction, which is a rare good thing. A son of luck is so hard to find even with a lantern. We can't let this kid get away. Chu Lingyan pouted and stared at Yifan with a look of vigilance and disgust. She turned her head to look at her older brother Chu Xiao. At such a young age, she didn't understand the behavior of inviting a bad guy to have dinner together. Ms. Li, I'm the host today. You can tell me where you want to eat. By the way, Brother Yi, don't be so stern. Miss Li and I have made it very clear that our previous engagement is annulled. I will never have any thoughts about her. So, you don't need to be hostile to me. Chu is an upright person and would never do anything to take away someone else's love. Chu Xiao opened the car door politely, acting very magnanimous. Hearing this, Li Qingxue felt inexplicably uncomfortable in her heart, but she couldn't explain why she felt uncomfortable. Maybe for her, all men in the world should like her and admire her. Yifan's expression was as ugly as ever. He was filled with anger and frustration, especially when he saw Chu Xiao pretending to be like this and calling him Brother Yi all the time, which made him very unhappy. Peace Hotel. Jianghai City's top restaurants usually require reservations in advance. But Chu Xiao is special. After all, he was driving a limited edition dark gold Lotus Avenger, and few people in the country could afford such a luxury car. As soon as the car stopped in front of the Peace Hotel, without saying anything, the hotel's general manager rushed out to greet them, and respectfully led Chu Xiao and his party to the most upscale box. There are always different levels of society in every world, and some people are born with privileges. This is an inevitable development of human society. Chu Xiao is one of the lucky ones who has this privilege. Inside the private room, a beautiful waitress came over respectfully holding a menu. Her special uniform showed off her exquisite and curvy figure. She smiled sweetly and said, "Mr. Chu, this is today's menu. What would you like to eat?" Her voice was gentle, as if she was speaking to her first love. Chu Xiao took the menu and glanced at it, then said, "Bring me all the most expensive dishes here. Oh, and bring out the best wine from your Peace Hotel. Red, white, and yellow, bring them all. You have to know that the dishes here are not cheap. If they are served like this, the price will exceed 1 million. The food is okay, but the wine is the most expensive. Top-grade aged wine can cost hundreds of thousands or even millions. The beautiful waitress was stunned for 2 seconds, but she quickly reacted. Okay, Mr. Chu, please wait a moment. Bite. You are liked by the waiter and get 9 points. Bite. The son of luck, Yi Fan, is jealous of you, and you get 99 points of satisfaction. The system's voice sounded in my mind. The corners of Chu Xiao's mouth curled up. As he expected, pretending to be cool in front of the son of luck would also earn him a lot of points. After ordering the dishes, the beautiful waitress bowed and was about to leave. Etc. Chu Xiao called her. The beautiful waitress smiled and asked, Master Chu, do you have any other instructions? Chu Xiao didn't say anything, but took out 2 stacks of brand new bills from his wallet and put them in the beautiful waitress's hand, saying, This is a tip for you. Looking at the 2 stacks of bills in her hand, the beautiful waitress seemed a little panicked. She had seen people giving tips, but she had never seen anyone give so much tip. The thickness of the tip must be almost 20,000 yuan. It's equivalent to her monthly salary. That's too much. Mr. Chu, we have a rule here that we can't accept so much tip from customers. The beautiful waitress said in surprise. Chu Xiao smiled faintly and said, Just take it if I tell you to. I'll see who dares to say anything to you. Finally, the beautiful waitress walked away quickly with 2 stacks of brand new bills, her cheeks flushed and her smile extremely sweet. Bite. Congratulations on being admired by the beautiful waitress and getting 99 points. Bite. The son of luck, Yi Fan, is extremely jealous of you, and you get 199 points of satisfaction. The system's voice flashed again. Chu Xiao felt extremely happy. To him, things that could be solved with money were not a problem at all. He only spent 20,000 yuan and gained nearly 406 points of happiness. Make a lot of money. Mr. Chu is such a spendthrift. Isn't he too wasteful? Yi Fan, who had been silent, finally couldn't help but speak. There was a gleam of jealousy in his eyes, and he was very unhappy with Chu Xiao's extravagant behavior. He has experienced the injustice of the world since he was a child and has a strong hatred of the rich. Chu Xiao shrugged and said with a smile, In the eyes of ordinary people, my behavior is indeed a bit wasteful. But my biggest goal in life is to be wasteful, and to be wasteful happily. Anyway, money and wealth have no meaning to me. Look how happy the waiter was after receiving the tip just now. My biggest hobby is to see others happy. Har har. Mr. Chu is really a kind person. Yi Fan sneered in self-deprecation, then shut up and stopped talking. He doesn't speak. But Chu Xiao would not sit idle, and immediately said, I see that Brother Yi has an imposing appearance, sword-like eyebrows and bright eyes, so he must be no ordinary person. His family background must be extraordinary. I wonder what business Brother Yi's family is in. When asked this question, Yi Fan didn't know how to answer. His current identity was just a bodyguard, and his monthly salary was only about 50,000 yuan. He frowned and was about to speak. Li Qingxue was worried that her lie would be exposed, so she quickly said, I met him abroad. The Yi family was one of the first Chinese to go abroad in the early years. They are currently engaged in export trade abroad. Chu Xiao touched the tip of his nose and looked at Yi Fan sharply with a hint of teasing in his eyes, as if to say, Stop pretending, you poor bastard. I know you are just a little bodyguard. As a son of luck, Yi Fan had a strong sixth sense and immediately interpreted the meaning in Chu Xiao's eyes. He couldn't help but frown, and the murderous intent in his heart became even stronger. How dare you, a mere dandy second-generation dude, tease me with your eyes? Damn it. Bite. It is detected that Yi Fan, the son of destiny, has great killing intentions towards you. Issue a mandatory mission to kill Yi Fan, the son of luck. Task reward, 9,999 points of fun value. Note, this mission is mandatory. The host must accept it and must complete the kill within the specified time. Task validity, 7 days. Hiss. Foggy. Chu Xiao shouted awesome. I didn't expect that provoking the son of fortune could trigger such a mandatory task. Chapter 10 The beautiful waitress's extravagant wishes. It seems that when the opponent's killing intent reaches a certain value, the system will trigger this kind of mandatory task. The reward of the task's excitement value should not be fixed, and it is probably determined by comprehensive factors such as the opponent's luck or strength. Regardless, this is a good thing for me. You can't rush to capture a goddess like Li Qingxue. After all, favorability needs to be cultivated slowly. But isn't it easy to kill a lucky child like Yi Fan? What a pity. Their mission deadline is only 7 days. It would be nice if it could be extended. It's not easy to come across a cool point cash machine like the Son of Luck. It's a pity to kill him like this. Chu Xiao secretly felt regretful, and then asked, System, how many points do I have now? Bite. Host, your current cool point value is 1,680 points. Oh my god, so many. Chu Xiao quickly opened the system page and looked at the record of obtaining the points. The points were constantly increasing, and some of them came from the envy of passers-by and waiters. Although each person contributed very little, the amount was large and could be increased continuously. System, how many points would it cost to buy the Tai Chi Baguazhang that I extracted earlier? Bite. Taiji Xingyi Baguazhang comes from an ordinary martial arts novel, and the price is as high as 2,000 Xuan points. The current balance cannot be used to purchase it. The system gives a warm reminder. Chu Xiao's mouth twitched slightly, and he couldn't help but complain, Brother Tongzi, why is this golden finger 1,500 points more expensive than the previous one? Their superb driving skills, I bought last time, was only worth 500 points. Bite. Taiji Xingyi Baguazhang is not just a martial art, but also a kind of Qigong practice with a hint of Taoism, infinitely close to the spiritual gold finger. And once you buy it, your physique will also change. Directly become a martial arts master. The price is 2,000 cool points. Not expensive. Please trust the quotes from this system, they are fair and honest. The system's voice flashed by. Chu Xiao felt somewhat relieved, and pinched his chin and said, okay. Then don't buy it for now, wait until you have enough points. The group had finished their meal. Ms. Li, Brother Yi, are you full? Are you satisfied with today's food? If not, let's make an appointment another day. All over the country, even around the world. Wherever Ms. Li wants to eat, Chu is happy to pay. Oh. By the way. Miss Li, please don't think too much. I am just apologizing to you for what happened 3 years ago. Chu Xiao smiled modestly and was polite, giving people a very sunny and gentle feeling. Li Qingshue's eyes flickered, and a smile finally appeared on her beautiful face. She had been secretly observing Chu Xiao, trying to see what kind of person Chu Xiao was. She enjoyed the meal very much, and suddenly she didn't hate Chu Xiao so much anymore. Mr. Chu, you are too polite. The food at the Peace Hotel is always exquisite and delicious. But I saw that you didn't eat much. Don't you like it? Li Qingxue asked the doubts in her mind. She found that Chu Xiao was always looking for topics to chat about, and seemed to get along well with Yi Fan. However, he didn't eat much of the food on the table, and hardly moved his chopsticks. This is a bit strange. Chu Xiao smiled faintly and nodded, if there is a chance, I will take you to another place. The food there is delicious to me. This sentence instantly aroused Li Qingshue's curiosity. As a food lover, she was of course curious about what the delicacy Chu Xiao was talking about. A few people chatted briefly. Chu Xiao raised his hand, waiter, check out. The beautiful waitress who had been waiting for a long time came over quickly and handed over a bill. Looking closely, the makeup on her face was more delicate than before, and it was obvious that she had put on makeup again on purpose. There is no doubt that if Chu Xiao asked her to leave his contact information and asked her out in the evening, she would be very happy to agree. Hello, Mr. Chu, the total consumption is 1.08 million. She said in a sweet voice. Only 1.08 million. Chu Xiao pinched his chin, turned his head to look at Chu Lingyan beside him, and asked with a smile, Little sister, what dishes do you like here? Point them out. The little girl Chu Lingyan grabbed a crab leg, tilted her head, and said with big eyes, Brother, I like all the dishes here. Chu Xiao snapped his fingers and said, Since my sister likes it, I'll order another portion of all the dishes and take them away. By the way, do you have takeout service here? Can you deliver it directly to my house? When the beautiful waitress heard this, her watery eyes seemed to understand something instantly, and she nodded quickly and said, Our chefs and waiters can bring the ingredients to your door. Of course, the price of this kind of door-to-door service will be a little more expensive. This is my business card. If you need anything, you can call the number on it at any time. I will arrange it for you immediately. Expensive? Har har har. What Chu is least afraid of is expensiveness. Chu Xiao smiled and took out a black gold card from his pocket and said, Swipe the card. One set of operations goes smoothly. Bite. The beautiful waitress has improper thoughts about you, and your satisfaction points increase by 99 points. Chu Xiao pinched his chin and couldn't help but look up at the beautiful waitress. A gleam of light flashed in his eyes and his ability of perspective was instantly activated. Good job. A mere waiter actually provided so many satisfaction points, he is almost half as good as a son of luck. But if you think about it carefully, there is nothing wrong with it. Those who can provide services in the VIP Supreme rooms of Peace Hotel are all beauties who have been carefully selected, and they are excellent in appearance, figure, academic background, and other aspects. It seems that I will have to go to more luxurious places to spend money in the future. Chu Xiao was thinking this in his mind when he suddenly received a system prompt in his mind. Bite. Li Qingshua's favorability towards you increases by 20 points. Current favorability, minus 30. Host, please keep up the good work, the goddess will be captured soon. I looked at the time, it was 1:30 in the afternoon. Mr. Chu, I have an important meeting this afternoon. Shall we leave it at that for today? Li Qingxue smiled faintly. Chu Xiao nodded and said, okay, I'll take you back then. Don't bother, the company car is waiting for me outside. We can contact each other by phone if we have anything. Li Qingxue said this and stood up. Okay. Let's make an appointment later. There was a gleam in Chu Xiao's eyes, and the ability of his X-ray vision was fixed on her. He had forgotten to turn it on just now, and now he suddenly realized that he had missed too much. This Li Qingshue's figure is really extremely terrifying, she is worthy of being the beauty on earth with a high score of 99 given by the system. She doesn't look fat, but in fact, she is big in all the right places. It's not an exaggeration to call her a cow. In particular, her body is very well proportioned, without a trace of excess fat, giving the overall look of very harmonious and seductive beauty. The skin all over the body is well maintained, smooth and shiny like mutton fat jade. Brother! What's wrong with you? Why is your nose bleeding? Chu Lingyan spoke in a childish voice. She looked at her elder brother worriedly, then turned her head to look at Li Qingxue who had already walked away. Her little mouth opened into a circle and her eyes rolled around, as if she understood something. It turns out that the big brother likes to look at the butts of pretty girls. What's so good about this? Chapter 11. A goddess-like biology doctor suddenly appears in the casino. Inside the cabin, old man Chu Jianghe blew away the fluff floating on the tea soup and asked with a smile, that silly boy went to the Li group today. Is there any news? The butler Deborah responded, it seems that everything is going well. However, the daughter of the Li family does not seem to want to marry the young master, so she found a bodyguard to play the role of boyfriend. However, they went to dinner smoothly. Old Master Chu Jianghe was not surprised, nor was he angry. He just smiled and nodded. Although Li Qingxue is arrogant, she is also very capable. She is beautiful, graceful, and kind-hearted. After she marries that silly boy, she will be able to take good care of him and at least won't let him suffer. It's just that Xiaoer will suffer. I'm afraid he will have to be controlled by his wife for the rest of his life. By the way, what did they do after dinner? Butler Fu Bo hesitated for a few seconds and said, the young master went straight to the casino after dinner, and the daughter of the Li family returned to the group. What? Casino? Yes, sir. For so many years, he didn't even understand mahjong and never gambled. Why would he want to go to the casino today? Master, maybe the thing you arranged was too much of a blow to him. It's understandable that the young master wants to vent. After all, the suffering he has endured in the past 3 years was almost all arranged by you. Ahem. Don't talk about these things anymore, and don't let that kid know anything. Let him gamble, let him do whatever he wants. We have plenty of money for him to squander, but I'm afraid he won't spend it, won't dare to spend it, and won't spend it. Yes, sir. The other side. The Grand Casino Vienna is a legal casino built on a cruise ship. This is a den of luxury exclusively for the rich. It's easy to bet millions or even billions of dollars, and some people become rich overnight and achieve freedom in life. But many others lose everything and their families are broken up. Gambling involves a certain element of luck. This involves probability. Brother, it's so lively here. There are so many beautiful girls, why are you staring at their butts again? Don't talk nonsense. I am your elder brother and I am a gentleman. How could I look at that kind of place? But you clearly looked at it, your eyes were rolling around. Chu Xiao felt ashamed and embarrassed and wanted to find a crack in the ground to crawl into. It seems that I have to be more restrained. Even Chu Lingyan has noticed it. Doesn't that mean? Handsome boy, do you need a female companion? At this time, a heavily made-up woman walked straight over and boldly reached out to touch Chu Xiao's chest. Her cheeks were flushed and her eyes were bloodshot, obviously she had been drinking. Name, Wang Zhubao. Age, 35. Height, 165 centimeters. Weight, 60 kilograms. Appearance, 75 out of 100. Body size, 66 full score 100. Background, Lolita. Culture, primary school. Specialties, ventriloquism, poisonous dragon drill, lying. Hobbies, I like to indulge in gambling. Number of romances, 1298 the daughter of thousand slashers. Favorability towards their host, 0. Full value 100. Strategy reward, 9 cool points. Sorry, no need. Chu Xiao quickly took a step back. He didn't want to let this old woman touch his body, especially since she was only 35 years old and had already killed 1,000 people. She was simply a virus carrier. Chu Xiao doesn't want to be infected with cauliflower. At the same time, he used the system's capabilities to begin searching for a suitable female companion. He was surprised to find out most of the women here have already achieved the feat of killing 1,000 people. It's worthy of being a place like a casino. Most of the women who can hang out here are in technical professions, eager to get rich overnight and hook up with rich men. Therefore, they have no reservations about their bodies. It seems that it is difficult to find a suitable female companion. Just in a daze. Where is Chu Lingyan? The little girl was just beside his legs, but she disappeared in the blink of an eye. Damn, I'm not being kidnapped. Chu Xiao hurriedly shouted, Chu Lingyan. Chu Lingyan. Chu Lingyan. Brother, I'm here, come quickly. There's a very beautiful young lady here. You'll definitely like her. A childish voice sounded from the crowd not far away. Chu Xiao hurried over, pushed through the crowd, and found that Chu Lingyan was sitting on the lap of a scantily clad woman, happily playing the slot machine. The slot machine kept flashing and a large amount of coins were spit out. The coins in this machine are not ordinary coins. Each coin can be exchanged for 10,000 yuan in cash. Look at the woman in front of her, there are thousands of coins. Wow, she is actually a rich girl. Brother, look, my sister and I won a lot of money. I'll treat you to dinner tonight. Chu Lingyan said this with a smile, her voice was very childish and babyish. The woman lifted her light red hair, looked at Chu Xiao with her clear and bright eyes, nodded slightly, showing her neat white teeth, and said, Hello, she is your sister, right? She is very cute. A moment. Her information appeared in front of Chu Xiao. Name, Pei Yimo. Age, 29. Height, 172 centimeters. Weight, 53 kilograms. Appearance, 97 out of 100. Body size, 96 full score 100. Background, one of the heirs of Pei Group. Culture, Doctor of Biology. Specialties, pharmacy, biology, chemistry, physics, mathematics, anatomy, blasting, surgery, breeding. Hobbies, I love gambling. Life is boring, only by taking a gamble can you feel happy. Number of romances, 1 broken heart. Favorability towards their host, 5 maximum value is 100. Strategy reward, 9,999 points. Oh shit. Surprisingly, another goddess level ATM has appeared. Chu Xiao was ecstatic. Their Pei Group was also a well-known chaebol group in Jianghai City, and it almost monopolized the business of certain commonly used medicines. Its background was quite terrifying. After all, the pharmaceutical industry is different from other industries. The threshold for entry is very high, and you must have certain connections. Hello, my sister is not disturbing you, right? Chu Xiao said with a smile. Your sister is very cute and we have a good understanding. I wonder if you mind letting her play with me for a while. Pei Yimo's delicate facial features were flawless, and her bright red lips were slightly raised, as if they could attract a man's soul. This woman's beauty is bold yet restrained. Perhaps it is because she has been doing research in the laboratory for many years. Her skin is tender and smooth, exuding a jade-like moist feeling. Chu Xiao was stunned and couldn't help but be stunned. Oh my god. This person is not a doctor at all, he is simply an angel on earth. Oh. Brother. Why are you bleeding from the nose again? Chu Lingyan shouted in panic. She jumped off the woman's thigh and stood on tiptoe to try to help Chu Xiao wipe the blood. Chu Xiao covered his nose and waved his hands, saying, "It's okay. The weather is a bit dry, I'll just take a rest. Don't worry about me, you guys continue to play, I'll go exchange some coins." Chapter 12, Playing the Long Game to Catch a Big Fish. Don't be ridiculous. Excuse me, sir, how many chips would you like to exchange? The person who spoke was the receptionist. She was pretty, with a professional smile on her face, and she looked sexy and charming. Chu Xiao thought about it, took out his phone and said, "Please help me exchange 10,000 chips." When she heard that she could only exchange 10,000 yuan, the receptionist's eyes flashed with disdain, but she hid it well, took out a chip with a smile, and said, "I'll scan you." Chu Xiao picked up the chips, and a smile inexplicably appeared on the corner of his mouth. Time came half an hour later. In the backstage of the casino, in the main monitoring room, there was a stern man in a white suit and a gold necklace around his neck. He narrowed his eyes and stared at Chu Xiao, who was laughing wildly on the screen. He frowned and asked, "Who is this person? Have you investigated his background?" "Brother Long, we have already investigated clearly. His name is Chu Xiao, he is the eldest son of the Chu group. He ran away from home 3 years ago and suddenly appeared yesterday." Chu group? Are you talking about the Chu group with assets exceeding 50 billion? Yes, Brother Long. What should we do now? That guy only spent 10,000 yuan to win 50 million from us. He has more and more chips in his hand, and he makes money faster and faster. Many gamblers saw that he was lucky and followed him to increase the bet. Our losses have reached more than 300 million. If we don't find a way to stop it, I'm afraid we will suffer heavy losses tonight. Is this kid cheating? Our people have been keeping an eye on him for a long time. He is not cheating. He just got lucky. What? Just pure luck. The stern man named Brother Long laughed, then narrowed his eyes, his gaze deep. Keep an eye on him first, let him win tonight. As long as he gets addicted to playing, he will definitely spit out double in the future. This is a big fish, so we naturally have to play a long game and use heavy bait. Oh, and let Rose have some contact. Brother Long is worthy of being Brother Long, I understand. The other side. Chu Xiao was surrounded by people, all of whom had red eyes and were extremely excited, shouting, "God of gamblers! God of gamblers!" Many beautiful women came over to extend olive branches, flirting and wanting to get to know Chu Xiao and earn some pocket money at the same time. Chu Xiao used the system to scan around and found that these women were all foreign women. There was even an old woman in her 40s who dared to flirt with him. It's true that money is alluring. Just then, a young woman in a red evening dress came over. She looked young, probably in her early 20s, with fox eyes, beauty mole, high nose, and slender waist. Her every frown and smile was extremely attractive. "Handsome, do you mind if I sit next to you?" Her name is Red Rose, her real name is unknown, but she is a big celebrity in this casino. Therefore, as soon as she appeared, some people made way for her seats and were very polite. "No problem, take a seat." Chu Xiao nodded and scanned it using the system. Name, Wang Qian. Nickname, Red Rose. Age, 22. Height, 169. Weight, 48 kilograms. Appearance, 89 out of 100. Body size, 90 out of 100. Background, a core member of Qianmen Society. Culture, technical secondary school. Specialties, gambling, charm, ventriloquism, yoga, golf, racing, fish farming. Hobby, conquering men. Number of relationships, 78. Cheating. Favorability towards their host, 0. Maximum value is 100. Strategy reward, 999 points. Chu Xiao frowned. He had never heard of Qianmen Hui, but it sounded like this organization was made up of gamblers, so it was probably not something that could be allowed in public. Oh. Quite interesting. Chu Xiao continued to place bets calmly. In fact, he did not buy the golden finger of superb gambling skills. The reason why he could always win was all due to the bug ability of his X-ray eyes. "Handsome guy, don't you find it boring to bet here all the time? How about we find a secluded place to do something else?" Red Rose's voice was full of alluring magnetism, and she believed that no man in the world could refuse such a suggestive invitation. However, Chu Xiao responded politely, "Sorry, I think it's interesting to bet on the size. Red Rose frowned. She suspected that she had misheard. This little man actually rejected her. Was it because her hint was not obvious enough? She began to doubt herself. Was it because her voice wasn't sweet enough, or her body wasn't hot enough, or her breasts weren't exposed enough? How could she know that apart from betting on the size, Chu Xiao had no confidence in other games at all? Playing cards, roulette, slot machines, etc., it was purely a matter of luck, which was tantamount to giving away money. Brother, I'm out of game coins. A childish voice sounded, and Chu Lingyin's little head popped out from the table, her dark eyes staring straight at the chips in front of Chu Xiao. Chu Xiao didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He rubbed her little head, then pushed most of his chips to her and said calmly, "Go and play with it. Come back to me if you lose." "Thank you, big brother tilder, I knew you were the best to me." Chu Lingyin left with the chips in her arms, smiling. Seeing this, the people around her made way for her. Good job. The pile of chips were all large denomination chips worth several $1 million, and judging by the number, there were probably about 70 or 80 million. Just let a little girl do whatever she wants. Oh shit. Who is this young man? He is so generous. What kind of family is it? The gamblers around were all trembling with fear. That many chips were enough for an ordinary person to spend in several lifetimes. They became even more curious about Chu Xiao's identity. But Chu Xiao didn't care. He had no interest in money at all. The reason he came to such a place to gamble and have fun was just to get some points. Every time when he won his bet and earned a lot of chips, the gamblers around him would look at him with envy and jealousy, and then contribute a lot of points. Do the math. From the moment Chu Xiao sat down to place his bet, he had already earned more than 1,000 points. This is much more satisfying than driving a luxury car around the streets. Sure enough, finding the right method is important. But soon, Chu Xiao discovered something wrong. He looked at the background of his system and found that the points he earned from gamblers were decreasing from the beginning to now. What is going on? Why are the cool points getting less and less? Brother system, can't you afford to play? Bite. The excitement points can be obtained by converting various emotion values. The reason why they are getting less and less is that this batch of gamblers has become numb. If you want to get more points, you can earn them by stimulating other people's emotions. The system prompt sound flashed. Chu Xiao suddenly realized something. He looked around and found that the gamblers around him were indeed very numb. The initial envy and jealousy were no longer in their eyes when they looked at him. Chapter 13, Do one good deed a day. Reap a lot of cool points. Little handsome boy, why don't you gamble? Some people became anxious when they saw that Chu Xiao was slow to place his bet. After all, in their eyes, Chu Xiao was the god of wealth, a beacon pointing to financial freedom. Chu Xiao smiled faintly, looked at a pure girl in the crowd, waved and said, "Come here." The innocent girl he pointed at was named Yu Rui. She looked like a college student. She was only 19 years old and had never been in a relationship. Her various indexes were good, but she was a little dull. It was obviously her first time to come to such a place. The innocent girl was slightly stunned, looked around, and whispered, "Are you calling me?" Chu Xiao nodded and said, "Yes, I am calling you." The innocent girl hesitated for a few seconds, and finally mustered up the courage to come over and asked curiously, "What do you want to talk to me about?" Chu Xiao said, "Is this your first time in a place like this?" The innocent girl nodded subconsciously, "Yes. My best friend brought me here. She said that this kind of place can make money quickly." "Do you really need money?" Chu Xiao didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He turned his head to look at the heavily made-up woman next to her. She had been in love hundreds of times and was obviously a frequent visitor to such places. She also had a flirty look on her face. It's easy to tell that her best friend is probably trying to drag her into trouble. After all, if a place like a casino wants to accumulate popularity and create an atmosphere, beautiful women are indispensable. And many good girls are pushed into the fire pit step by these so-called besties. Then they can't extricate themselves and their lives are ruined. The innocent girl pursed her lips and nodded. "My brother has leukemia, and my family doesn't have the money to give him a bone marrow transplant, so I wanted to try my luck here." Chu Xiao stared at her. According to the system scan, she did not lie, so he said, "Promise me one thing. Don't come to this kind of place again. Okay?" R. The innocent girl raised her head in confusion and looked at the handsome man. She didn't understand what he meant. She clearly didn't know him, so why was he talking to her in the tone of an older brother admonishing her? Her best friend said sarcastically, "Why, what does it have to do with you that we come to this kind of place? This is our personal freedom. You have no right to interfere. My best friend needs money. If you have the guts, give her money. Hear this." Chu Xiao just smiled faintly, stood up and put all the remaining chips in the hands of the innocent girl, patted her head and said, "This money is enough for your brother to see a doctor. Go away. You shouldn't come to this kind of place." Looking at the stack of chips with the face value of millions in her hand, the innocent girl Yu Rui stood there in a daze. She kept taking deep breaths, trying to calm herself down. There are more than a dozen chips here. If you count them, there are at least more than 30 million. Oh my god. More than 30 million. Bite. You are grateful to Yu Rui, your favorability reaches 100 points, the strategy is successful, and you are rewarded with 199 points of satisfaction. Bite. You are envied and hated by gamblers, and the reward is 39 points. Bite. Bite. A series of prompt sounds exploded in my mind. The gamblers around were all stunned, their mouths opened so wide that it seemed like a goose egg could fit in. Their numb nerves were instantly stimulated. Hatred of the rich. So envious. So jealous. Various emotional values soared wildly. In just these few tens of seconds, Chu Xiao once again gained more than 1,000 points of satisfaction. The innocent girl Yu Rui reacted and quickly shook her head and said, "Big brother, what are you doing? Giving me so much money. I have nothing to give you in return. I am not the kind of woman you imagine. I can't." Chu Xiao waved his hand and said, "Just take it if I tell you to. It's just tens of millions. Don't talk nonsense to me. Remember, don't come to this kind of place again. Study hard in college. Be a useful person to society." He turned and left amid the envious, jealous and hateful gazes of the crowd, his back looking so cool. The innocent girl mustered up her courage and chased after him, saying, "These chips are too many, I only need one. I'll write you an IOU." Chu Xiao stopped walking, with a boastful and playful look on his face. "What? Do you look down on me? I, Chu Xiao, haven't even asked for an IOU for the money I gave away. I'm warning you not to follow me anymore. If you do, I won't give you a cent." Hearing him say this, the innocent girl Yu Rui finally stopped. She looked down at the chips in her hand, and finally gritted her teeth and walked to the front desk. Gamblers around. A face full of envy and jealousy. Who the hell is this rich guy? He is so generous. Even the son of the richest man in the world wouldn't dare to be so charitable. "Mr. Chu, please don't leave. My wife has breast cancer and I need money too." "Yes, yes, yes. My son was in a car accident yesterday and is now a quadriplegic. My mom has appendicitis. I have hemorrhoids. Master Chu, please give us some money." Many gamblers shouted with red eyes. "A large amount of refreshing points are credited to your account." Chu Xiao raised the corner of his mouth and searched around the gambling hall. Finally, he found his sister Chu Lingyan in a corner. The girl was lying in front of the slot machine with her head down, and it seemed that she had lost again. "What? Lost it all so quickly? Brother, this machine is too bad. It makes me lose every time." Chu Lingyan hung her head and muttered, "Brother, you won't blame me, will you? I heard those coins are worth tens of millions." Chu Xiao flicked her head in annoyance and said, "That's bad. You have to pay. How many chips did I give you just now? It should be 80 million, right? Brother, you really want me to pay you back? But I don't have any money. Then I'll sell you. Wow, tilder, I'm going to tell Grandpa, I'm going to call Grandpa. Big brother is bad. I'm just kidding, it's only 80 million. Even if it's 800 million or 800 million, as long as my sister is happy, I can spend it. Really? I knew you were the best to me, brother." Chu Lingyan showed her two small canine teeth, turned her head and said to Pei Yimo beside her, "Sister Momo, what I said is right. My eldest brother will not be angry." Pei Yimo blushed and looked at Chu Xiao, apologetically saying, "I'm sorry. Your sister and I lost those chips just now. How about this, let's leave contact information, or I can write you an IOU. I'll get the 80 million back to you as soon as possible." Her tone was very sincere, but her eyes looked a little strange. Chu Xiao pinched his chin and said, "Forget about the IOU, you can leave your contact information. Hello, let's get to know each other formally. My name is Chu Xiao, what's yours? Call me Pei Yimo. It's Miss Pei. It's getting late now. Do you want to continue playing? I don't want to play anymore. I'm not afraid of you laughing at me. I've already lost all my pocket money. Well, we're planning on leaving too, would you consider getting a midnight snack together? Is it okay not to go? That 80 million tilde. Okay, let's eat. Let me make it clear that I'm not the kind of slutty woman you imagine. As for the 80 million, give me a few days and I'll definitely pay it back to you. It's just a simple midnight snack. If you mind, forget it. Chu Lingyan, say goodbye to Sister Pei. Sister Pei, let's go together. My brother is single, and you are single too, so you two can date. That. Children's words are innocent, Miss Pei, please don't take them seriously. Chapter 14, Jianmen Hui. Set up a trap. Inside the monitoring room of the casino backstage. Brother Long, have they left? Rose is ready too. Should we proceed as planned? The casino manager inquired. Well, let Rose get close to him. Conquer him for me at all costs. Yes, Brother Long. Long Aoqian crossed his hands in front of his chest, his cold eyes narrowed slightly, with a hint of teasing and playfulness. Interesting, this Chu Xiao. He obviously won so much, but he gave it to a woman without even blinking an eyelid. The other side. Chu Lingyan rode on Chu Xiao's neck, waving her two chubby little hands in the air, laughing like a silver bell. Har har, big brother, what are we going to eat later? How about a seafood barbecue? Yeah, I love seafood. Since the casino is built inside a cruise ship, you have to take a yacht if you want to leave. But the number of yachts is limited, so not everyone can leave immediately, and you need to wait until there are more people. Chu Xiao and his companions walked onto the yacht and took a quick glance, and found that the 19-year-old innocent girl Yu Rui was also there. She was sitting alone in the corner of the yacht, supporting her head with her hands, staring blankly at the dark sea. Besides her, there was also a familiar-looking woman there. It was the woman named Wang Qian, nicknamed Red Rose. She was sitting with her legs crossed, dressed very revealingly, with a cigarette lit in her hand. When she saw Chu Xiao, she was stunned for a moment but didn't say anything. Waited a few more minutes. There are enough people. The yacht started slowly, carrying everyone away from the luxurious cruise ship and heading towards the harbor on the shore. The night sea breeze carries a hint of saltiness, and the Black Sea is terrifying. Chu Lingyan rode on Chu Xiao's neck and refused to get down. She opened her arms and shouted loudly, she was extremely happy. She had a lot of fun today. It's that little brother. The innocent girl Yu Rui was pleasantly surprised to see Chu Xiao, so she straightened her clothes and walked over. But when she actually walked in front of Chu Xiao, she didn't know what to say. After all, in her self-perception, she was just an insignificant little person, a woman struggling at the bottom of society. She instinctively felt inferior when facing a wealthy young man like Chu Xiao. Even though her favorability towards Chu Xiao has reached 100 points, it does not mean that she and Chu Xiao are acquaintances. Why did she come over to chat with me? Are you trying to climb up the social ladder? Isn't the 30 million just now enough? She lowered her head, lost in a dilemma. Where's your bestie? Chu Xiao broke the silent atmosphere with a peaceful smile on his face, giving people a very approachable feeling. The innocent girl whispered, "We broke up." Chu Xiao couldn't help but laugh and said, so you feel sad because you lost a friend?" Staring at the sea in a daze. The innocent girl nodded silently and said to herself, "Manli and I grew up together, but she dropped out of junior high school because of her poor grades. Although she has changed a lot over the years, she is very good to me." Chu Xiao interrupted, "I guess, she wanted to share the money with you, but you didn't agree, and then you fell out." The innocent girl raised her head, eyes full of surprise and asked, "How did you know?" Chu Xiao didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Is this hard to guess? After all, no one can remain calm in front of 30 million. It's also a good thing for you to go your separate ways early. In the future, concentrate on studying and don't get involved too much with the dirty people in society. People are treacherous, and you now have so much money. In the future, you will be surrounded by fraud and flattery. The innocent girl nodded slightly as she listened, a complex look flashing across her dark eyes. Chu Xiao didn't say anything else. After all, they were just a chance acquaintance and the two of them would never have any contact in the future. How much she could listen to and what kind of person she would become in the future had nothing to do with him. After all, he was just using her to earn some points. The yacht slowly approached the shore. "Bye, little sister." Chu Lingyan waved her little hand at the innocent girl. Just at this moment, several gangsters wearing floral shirts and with tattoos on their arms rushed out. They brushed past Chu Xiao and directly surrounded the woman named Wang Qian, nicknamed Red Rose. "You bastard, we finally caught you. Where's your money? Where's your brother's money? Hand it over now." A man yelled with a fierce look in his eyes. Wang Qian was so frightened that her face turned pale. She stammered, "Money, give me some more time. I will definitely pay you back. Believe me, I will definitely pay you back." Bang! A big slap hit her face with great force. Her fair cheek turned red instantly, leaving a palm mark. "Master Chu, handsome Chu. Please save me, they are bad guys, they will kill me." Wang Qian covered her cheek and stumbled over, looking extremely panicked and embarrassed. Chu Xiao frowned, and a playful smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Others might not be able to see through it, but he saw it clearly. After a systematic investigation, it was found that this group of social men and Wang Qian were clearly of the same kind. They all came from an organization called Qianmenhui. The scene before my eyes was definitely an act. It's just a setup. But the acting was really good, the slap was really hard. It's easy to guess that Wang Qian wanted to get in touch with Chu Xiao in this way. After all, the scene of a hero saving a beauty is still very useful. "I'm sorry, we don't seem to know each other. Goodbye." Chu Xiao held Chu Lingyan and turned around indifferently, at a leisurely pace, with no intention of intervening at all. Pei Yimo didn't say anything and followed Chu Xiao quietly. She seemed to speak very little, but her eyes were full of meaning. "Bite. You are praised by Pei Yimo, and his favorability towards you increases by 10 points. Current favorability is 15 points. Host, please keep up the good work, the goddess will be captured soon." The system's voice flashed by. Chu Xiao was a little caught off guard. He didn't expect that this Pei Yimo was quite interesting. Could it be that she also saw something? See, he really left. Everyone from the Qianmen society was a little confused. Why wasn't this happening according to the rules? We were supposed to be a hero saving a beautiful girl, why did you just leave without even taking a look? Could it be that the beating was not hard enough? Or was it that there were too many people and that scared Chu Xiao? Wang Qian frowned, looked at the dazed men behind her, nodded calmly, and signaled them to continue performing. The men understood what was going on and immediately rolled up their sleeves and started fighting, chasing Wang Qian while beating and cursing her, without any regard for the severity of their blows, and their acting was very realistic. The innocent girl Yu Rui was frightened so much that her face turned pale, she covered her mouth, and her legs kept shaking. Soon, Wang Qian fled to Chu Xiao's dark gold lotus of Eger. She twisted her heel and fell to the ground. She screamed in fear, "Don't come over, I really have no money. Give me some more time, please give me some more time." Chapter 15, Trigger the system task again. The woman named Wang Qian was pinned in front of the car by several gangsters. Her makeup was messed up due to crying, and there were visible bruises on her arms and face. She kept wailing and begging for mercy. Inside the car, Chu Lingyan was so obedient that she said nothing. She covered her eyes with her chubby little hands, but a pair of focused pupils could be seen through her fingers. "What do you think?" Chu Xiao asked casually and calmly. Pei Yimo, who was sitting in the passenger seat, said indifferently, "Sit and watch." Chu Xiao raised the corner of his mouth. "So, you already noticed something was wrong?" Pei Yimo tilted his head, a puzzled look in his eyes, and asked, "What did you find wrong?" "Chu Xiao, didn't you realize they were acting?" Hearing this, Pei Yimo covered his mouth in surprise, and asked with a look of astonishment, "What? You mean, they are acting and deliberately showing it to us? Why?" Chu Xiao covered his forehead and said, "Forget it, just pretend I didn't say anything. Where are we going to eat seafood barbecue?" Pei Yimo thought for a few seconds and then said, "I'm not very familiar with the night market. How about this? You don't mind if I call another friend over, right? Don't worry, I'll let her pay the bill, so you won't have to spend any money." Chu Xiao nodded and said, well, go ahead and call. Pei Yimo took out his cell phone, searched carefully, and then dialed a number, whispering, Schwebauer tilde tilde, are you free? Accompany me for a midnight snack tilde tilde, how about I introduce you to a handsome guy? He's single. A very pleasant female voice soon came from the other end of the line. You didn't lose all your money again, did you? I've told you so many times not to gamble, why didn't you listen? Where are you? I'll pick you up now. Pei Yimo said awkwardly, I'm in a man's car, and we're going to have a midnight snack. But, you know, I'm not familiar with the night market. There was silence on the other end of the line. The woman said, let's go to Haifilu. The seafood barbecue there is delicious. Pei Yimo hung up the phone, turned to Chu Xiao and said, let's go to Haifilu. My best friend is not an ordinary person. She is very rich. When the time comes, I will ask her to lend me tens of millions to pay you back first. Chu Xiao pinched his chin and didn't say anything. He suddenly felt that the woman's voice on the phone was very familiar, but he couldn't remember who it was for a moment. Outside the car. Stop it now. I've called the police. You guys beat up a woman, what kind of men are you? I don't know where the innocent girl you Rui got the courage from, she actually held up a mobile phone and filmed while shouting. Her sudden appearance surprised Wang Qian, but she quickly came up with an idea. She crawled and rolled to hide behind Yu Rui, trembling all over and looking very pitiful. Don't worry, I've left evidence in my phone. Before Yu Rui could finish her words, she was slapped hard in the face by the other party. At the same time, someone snatched her cell phone and stomped it to pieces. Call the police? Bitch, who do you think you are? You like to meddle in other people's business. We will beat you up too. Come on, brothers, we must get the boss's money back today. Looking at the men approaching her, Yu Rui was obviously stunned. She stood there with a pale face, not knowing what to do. The burning pain on her cheek reminded her that she was not dreaming. She finally became scared. But it's too late to say anything now. At this moment, Wang Qian was hiding behind her, but her eyes were secretly observing the car. She found that Chu Xiao's expression finally changed a little, and she couldn't help but feel secretly happy. What she couldn't understand was why the eldest son of the Chu group had been hiding in the car and didn't get out. Was he afraid? Or was he not beaten badly enough? Inside the car, Pei Yimo pushed up his glasses and said calmly, aren't you going to save anyone? Chu Xiao didn't know whether to laugh or cry. There are 4 men on the other side, and I'm not Tyson. If I go to save them, I'll just get beaten. If I get hurt, it won't be worth it. Pei Yimo nodded in agreement. Bite. Congratulations to their host for receiving Pei Yimo's approval, and your favorability increased by 5 points. Current favorability, 20 points out of 100. Host, please keep up the good work. Conquer the goddess as soon as possible. The system's voice flashed by. Chu Xiao was a little surprised. He took a deep look at Pei Yimo, who was sitting in the passenger seat, and suddenly felt that this woman was interesting. At least she was not stupid. She was calm and composed in any situation and knew how to protect herself. Boom! 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 The Lotus Avenger roared and the 2 front lights lit up. The area was filled with roars like the roars of dragons and tigers. Hey! If you want to arrest someone, hurry up and don't block my car. I'm in a hurry to take my girl out for a midnight snack. Chu Xiao honked their horn and spoke nonchalantly. A man from the Qianmen society frowned and shouted, what the hell is this to you? Want to be a hero and save the beauty? Believe it or not, we will beat you up too. Chu Xiao waved his hands and smiled, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to be a hero and save the damsel in distress. You guys should arrest people and beat people. We don't interfere with each other, but could you please move faster? Or, stop blocking my car all the time. As soon as the words fell, the leading Qianmen Hui man reached into the car window, grabbed Chu Xiao's clothes, and said fiercely, what if I don't let you? Chu Xiao spread his hands, let's talk, but don't fight, okay? My clothes are not cheap. If they are damaged, I'm afraid you can't afford to pay for it. Damn it, you just started fighting. What's wrong? If you don't agree, come and fight. Another Qianmen Hui man kicked the door of the dark gold Lotus Avenger with an extremely arrogant expression on his face, and his acting was a bit exaggerated. Bite. Their host is detected to be provoked, triggering the face-slapping task. Host, please beat up these little trash. Task reward, 100 points of fun value. This mission cannot be refused. The system voice sounded. The corners of Chu Xiao's mouth rose. He was right in his guess. As long as he was constantly provoked, the system task would be triggered. After all, he was bound to the Shuangwen system, so how could he be defeated? Isn't that just writing a knife-like article under the guise of a cool article? It's just that the excitement point value of this adventure mission is too low, only 100 points. It seems that the mission reward is determined by the difficulty. The stronger the opponent, the more excitement points the system rewards. Chu Xiao didn't say another word. He grabbed the arm of the Tianmen Hui man who was pulling his clothes. With a twist of his wrist, the man's arm was instantly dislocated and fractured, and hung down like mud. The intense pain made the man's face turn pale, his lips tremble, beads of sweat appeared on his forehead, and he screamed in pain like a pig being slaughtered. Before the others could react, Chu Xiao had already pushed the door open and got out of the car. At the same time, he kicked a Tianmen Hui man on the left in the stomach. If he remembered correctly, it was this guy who kicked the car door just now. You dare to kick my car? Do you know how much this car is worth? Worth 80 million. Chu Xiao immediately kicked him again, and the terrifying force instantly broke the opponent's shin bone. The sound of bones breaking mixed with the hum of car engines. Pei Yimo in the car saw this scene and couldn't help but open her red lips slightly, and said in surprise, "Wow. Your brother is too powerful. It's like the crooked-mouthed Dragon King is possessed." Chu Lingyan was also extremely excited and said, "My eldest brother is the best, let's worship him." In less than a minute, the four Tianmen Hui men fell to the ground wailing with expressions of extreme pain. This was the result of Chu Xiao showing mercy. With his terrifying strength, a random punch was enough to kill these mortals. It was not an exaggeration to say that one punch would make the opponent's head burst into pieces. Born with great strength is 100 times stronger than that of ordinary people. It's so terrifying. Chapter 16. It turns out that he likes old women. Bite. Congratulations to their host for completing the adventure mission and beating up the little trash. Get the cool points, 100 points. Bite. Goddess Pei Yimo's favorability towards the host increases by 30 points. Current favorability is 50 points. Full score is 100. Host, please keep up the good work and conquer the goddess as soon as possible. The system's voice flashed by. Chu Xiao was a little surprised. He didn't expect that just by showing off his skills, he could make the daughter of Pei Pharmaceutical Group fall in love with him and her favorability increased by 30 points. It seems that women all like strong men. Everyone around was shocked. Fuck, this guy is like the god of war. He knocked the guy down with just 2 moves, is this true? That's too exaggerated. A passerby exclaimed. Wang Qian frowned secretly. She thought her people were letting him go on purpose, but luckily it was Chu Xiao who made the move. She hurried forward and cried with gratitude, "Thank you for saving me. I have no way to repay you. Can you?" She had only said half of her lines when Chu Xiao turned back to the car, slammed the door shut, and stepped on the accelerator. The Lotus Avenger worth 80 million roared away and disappeared into the night. Wang Qian opened her mouth, her body shaking with anger. She shouted, "Everyone has left, why are you still lying on the ground pretending? Please don't be so lax next time. Your acting is too exaggerated." One of the men from the Chen Men's Society gritted his teeth and said with a painful expression, "Sister Rose, we are not pretending. That guy is a monster, his strength is terrifying, just one blow, and my arm is broken. Take us to the hospital quickly. Maybe we can reattach it." "Yeah. It hurts. My leg is broken." That guy was so cruel. Hearing this, Wang Qian was shocked and said, "What? He just touched you twice and your bones were broken. You must be joking." "Sister Rose, we are not kidding. That boy is stronger than Brother Long. This matter is over." Jianghai City, which was known as the city that never sleeps as early as the Republic of China period, is now prosperous and full of the atmosphere of fireworks with neon lights flashing and pedestrians lining both sides of the streets. The rumbling sound of car horns echoed in the streets, attracting countless passers-by to stop and watch, take pictures, and post them online. The pleasure point value increases point by point. In the car, Chu Lingyan was listening to the happy car music while shaking her head and waving her little arms like lotus roots, but soon she couldn't help yawning and rubbing her eyes. "Brother, I'm a little sleepy." "Then go to sleep first. I'll call you when we get there." Yeah, I'm going to sleep tilder. After all, she was just a little girl. After playing crazy outside with Chu Xiao for a whole day, she finally felt sleepy and fell asleep on the car seat. While driving, Chu Xiao calmly changed the music to a softer one. At the same time, he turned down the volume a lot, lowered the air conditioning temperature, and slowed down the car. Sitting in the passenger seat, Pei Yimo suddenly found that this man, who was much younger than him, was quite nice. Although he looked cynical and out of touch on the surface, he was actually a caring and warm man. Unfortunately, he is too young. Thinking of this, Pei Yimo's eyes flashed with sadness. She was already 29 years old this year, only 2 months away from turning 30. But Chu Xiao is young and in his prime. What a good man. Unfortunately, it's too small. His family will definitely not agree. Well. Bite. Pei Yimo's favorability towards you increases by 10 points. Current favorability, 60 full score 100. Host, please cheer up, we will succeed soon. The system prompt sounded. Chu Xiao touched the tip of his nose and asked secretly, System, when a woman's favorability towards me reaches 100 points, does that mean I can do whatever I want even if my strategy is successful? Bite. Yes, when the female's favorability towards their host reaches 100 points, the system will automatically calculate the strategy reward. As for whether you can do whatever you want, I suggest the host try it yourself. There will be unexpected surprises. Oh, I see, I understand. Chu Xiao smiled knowingly, then concentrated on driving without saying anything else. The car fell silent. Pei Yimo pretended to look at the scenery outside the window, but in fact he was observing Chu Xiao's every move through the reflection of the glass, his cheeks, his eyes, his lips, his chest, and his hands holding the steering wheel. Unconsciously, the vehicle stopped in front of Haifilu building. There were many people coming here for supper, and the place was very lively. As soon as the dark gold Lotus Avenger stopped, it caused a lot of noise. Wow! What a cool car! I'm so jealous. I wish I could have a car like this. Don't dream, this isn't a BMW or a junky car like that, this is a Lotus Avenger. The regular model costs over 20 million. Hiss! Over 20 million, the person who drives this car must be a super rich man. The diners were whispering to each other, all with envy in their tone. At this time, Chu Xiao pushed the door and got out of the car. His brand new suit, handsome face, and tall body instantly caused exclamations from many women present. What a handsome boy! He's rich and wealthy. Oh, it would be great if he was my boyfriend. A woman spoke with envy. The envious emotions of these people are converted into satisfaction points by the system. Although each person can only provide 1 point, the advantage is the large quantity. At this moment, a familiar prompt sound suddenly caught Chu Xiao's attention. Bite. You are envied and hated by Zhang Xiaoru, and you gain 99 points. Zhang Xiaoru? Isn't that the ex-girlfriend? Why, she is eating here too. Chu Xiao looked around and soon saw the familiar yet unfamiliar figure in the crowd not far away. She was sitting next to a middle-aged man, wearing heavy makeup and revealing clothes. If it's not my ex-girlfriend Zhang Xiaoru, then who else could it be? What bad luck! It seems that she has cheated on more than one person. She is staying with a group of middle-aged men late at night. She must be a whore. Chu Xiao secretly felt lucky that he used to be a simple and innocent man and nothing inappropriate happened between him and his ex-girlfriend. Otherwise, it would be terrible if he contracted some sexually transmitted disease. What are you looking at? Pei Yimo's voice interrupted Chu Xiao's thoughts. She followed Chu Xiao's gaze and then saw Zhang Xiaoru who was looking here. The other person's eyes revealed undisguised envy, jealousy and hatred. Chu Xiao shook his head and said truthfully, nothing, I just saw my ex-girlfriend. But she has nothing to do with me now. Let's go inside to eat. Oh, okay. Pei Yimo was a little surprised. She couldn't help but take a closer look at Zhang Xiaoru who was drinking with her. Then, she came to the conclusion in her mind that the woman had no figure and no looks, and with her heavy makeup she looked like a 30-something aunt. How could Chu Xiao have liked such a woman before? Could it be that he has a sister fetish? Does that mean age is not a problem? After realizing this, Pei Yimo's mood instantly improved, and he quickened his pace to catch up with Chu Xiao. Chapter 17 Reality is often stranger than fiction. Sister Pei, why hasn't the friend you mentioned come yet? I'm hungry. Chu Lingyin looked at the various barbecued seafood in front of her and couldn't help swallowing her saliva. All of a sudden, all her sleepiness disappeared and drool began to flow from the corners of her mouth. Pei Yimo smiled apologetically and said, "How about we eat first? My friend is usually busy." "Okay, then we won't wait." Chu Xiao picked up a lobster and placed it in front of Chu Lingyin. While eating seafood, the atmosphere was a bit awkward. After all, the two of them just met today, so they can't be said to be very familiar with each other. There is a feeling of being close yet distant. Chu Xiao discovered that Pei Yimo was a woman who looked hot and sexy on the surface, but in fact, she was very quiet. No, it should be said that she was calm. Why is Pei Yimo dressed like this today? Maybe he is in a state of venting. Just think about it and you will understand. The system has marked that Pei Yimo has just broken up with his lover, so it is inevitable that he will be unhappy. I can't figure it out. I really can't understand it. The Miss Pei Yimo in front of me is one of the heirs of the Pei group. She has a hot body, delicate and flawless facial features, crystal clear and tender skin, and a nice voice. Who would break up with her? If it were Chu Xiao, if he had such a beautiful and rich girlfriend, he would definitely hold her in the palm of his hand and care for her all the time. Ms. Pei, you don't seem very happy today. Let me guess, were you dumped by your boyfriend? Chu Xiao half-jokingly tried to find a topic to talk about. Pei Yimo was eating a roasted banana when he heard this. He was immediately surprised and blurted out, "Wow! You can even see this. Are you a psychologist or a detective?" Chu Xiao smiled faintly and analyzed in a profound manner. Although we have known each other for a short time, I feel that Miss Pei is usually a very quiet, ladylike woman who likes quietness. The way you dress today is obviously inconsistent with your personality. And you spent lavishly in the casino, so I guess your family must be quite wealthy. What can make you change your temperament so drastically and go to the casino to vent? After thinking about it, I am afraid that it can only be a broken heart. He spoke slowly and logically, with solid reasoning. Bite. Pei Yimo is surprised by your IQ, and his favorability increases by 5 points. Current favorability, 65 out of 100. Host, please keep up the good work. The system voice sounded. Pei Yimo hummed lightly, nodded slowly, and said, "Mr. Chu's words are really interesting, just like those of ancient people. But you guessed right, I am indeed heartbroken. To be precise, I was dumped." Looking at her spitting out the banana, Chu Xiao suddenly recalled certain memories and couldn't help but raise the corners of his mouth. Pei Yimo frowned and said coquettishly, "What are you laughing at? It's normal to be dumped in a relationship, right? Who in this world hasn't been dumped?" Chu Xiao waved his hand, "Sorry, I just remembered something very pleasant. It is normal to be dumped in a relationship, but it is not normal when it happens to you, Miss Pei." Pei Yimo asked curiously, "What's wrong?" Chu Xiao pinched his chin, looking at her without hesitation, and calmly analyzed, "Ms. Pei is rich, has a good figure, and is very beautiful. She is the perfect object in a man's mind. Who would be stupid enough to break up with a peerless beauty like you, unless he is crazy?" Bite. Pei Yimo is extremely pleased with your praise, and his favorability increases by 10 points. Current favorability, 75 out of 100. Host, please keep up the good work. We are almost there. Come on. Young man. Hiss. Chu Xiao was very surprised. He just gave her a few casual compliments and her favorability increased so much. Could it be that this woman in front of him was a love-brained person? Are you crazy about it? It's too easy to get. In fact, he doesn't know that if someone likes you, even if you just say something nice to her, the impression of you in her mind will be greatly improved. As for a woman who is not interested in you, no matter how much you praise her, her favorability will not increase at all. It may even backfire and cause her to feel strong disgust. Pei Yimo opened her bright red lips, sighed, and slowly said, "Actually, this is my first time to fall in love. We met each other when we were playing games online. He has good skills and is considered a celebrity in the game. We often go to dungeons together, and after a while, we became a couple. A few days ago, he suddenly asked me to meet offline. I hesitated for a while, and of course I agreed. Guess what happened?" Chu Xiao listened attentively, nodded and asked, "What's wrong? What happened to you?" Pei Yimo showed a self-deprecating smile on her face. She raised her hand and asked the waiter to bring 2 bottles of Lao Baigan. She unscrewed the bottle cap and took a big gulp. She was a little drunk and cried out. He actually disliked that I was too pretty. He said he was not worthy of me. He didn't want to hold me up. Then he ended our relationship in the game. That day, I was playing games alone in the hotel. Do you know how uncomfortable I felt? I don't mind. I really don't mind my appearance or my family background. I just like the way he takes me to dungeons when playing games. Hiss. Good job. This is really drunk. Chu Xiao was speechless for a moment, not knowing how to comfort her. Even though he was an expert in love, he did not expect the plot of the story to be so bizarre. Isn't it bizarre? I met a super beautiful girl while playing games. She is rich, beautiful, and has a hot body. What's more, she even booked a hotel room. Is there any man who would take the initiative to break up? You even left such a beautiful girl in a hotel? Oh. Chu Xiao opened his mouth and felt like his CPU was burning out. If it were him, he probably wouldn't have proposed breaking up and would have done it in the hotel that night. I have to say, there are really weird people in this world. Maybe, the other party really feels inferior and doesn't want to delay Pei Yimo. Pei Yimo raised his head and took another big sip of Lao Baigan, and said drunkenly, Chu Xiao, don't you think I'm too stupid? I actually dated an online friend for 6 years. Chu Xiao was silent for a moment, then said, when it comes to relationships, it's all about mutual affection. Since the other party has decided to break up with you, you should forget each other, stop bothering each other, and embrace a new future together. I believe that he made this decision because he knew he was not worthy of you and didn't want to delay you. You met a good person, fool. Pei Yimo smiled foolishly. She stared at Chu Xiao with drunken eyes and asked with curved eyebrows, Chu Xiao, how many times have you been in love? Have you ever thought about finding someone older than you? What do you think of me? She hasn't finished speaking yet. Suddenly, a young woman wearing a white gauze dress, with delicate makeup and exuding nobility and elegance, walked into the box. The woman had an outstanding appearance, eyes like stars, lips like flames, and a jewel necklace hanging around her white neck. She was stunned as soon as she walked into the door. At the same time, Chu Xiao was also stunned. Li Qingxue. Chu Xiao. The two of them exclaimed in unison. Chapter 18 Disgusting Woman. It turns out that you can get points by throwing money. Why is it you? There was a flash of astonishment in Li Qingxue's eyes. Chu Xiao smiled and said, it turns out to be Miss Li, long time no see. Li Qingxue frowned. She and Chu Xiao had just met at noon. There was no such thing as long time no see. He was such a smooth talker. Chu Lingyan, who was concentrating on eating seafood, looked up and shouted in surprise, hey! It's my sister-in-law. Sister-in-law? Hearing this, Pei Yimo's drunkenness dissipated a little, and he quickly asked, do you know each other? Li Qingxue nodded and whispered, he is the heir of the Chu group that I told you about 3 years ago. Chu Xiao. What? Pei Yimo covered his mouth in shock and blurted out, didn't you say that was a fat guy? Mr. Chu, I was indeed a little fatter before. Chu Xiao touched the tip of his nose subconsciously. He didn't expect that the best friend Pei Yimo was talking about was actually his fiancée, Li Qingxue. This world is too small. Since you're here, why not have a midnight snack together? We're all acquaintances anyway. Chu Xiao raised his hand to call the waiter, ordered some more seafood, then turned to Pei Yimo and asked, by the way, what did Miss Pei say just now? What do you think of me? What? Pei Yimo's originally fair cheeks instantly turned red, and she quickly waved her hands and smiled, nothing, I forgot too. She felt so embarrassed that she wanted to find a hole to crawl into. Fortunately, Li Qingxue arrived in time, otherwise, if she had said, what do you think of me? Isn't this so embarrassing? At the same time, she felt very upset because she had finally found a good man, but he turned out to be her best friend's fiancé. Ms. Pei, please don't misunderstand. My engagement with Ms. Li has been cancelled long ago. Moreover, we have reached a consensus today that we will not bother each other in the future. Chu Xiao said with a smile. Hearing this, Li Qingxue frowned again. She fell silent and didn't know how to refute anything, but she always felt like she had lost something. This made her very uncomfortable and she had no appetite for midnight snack. Pei Yimo looked at her in confusion and asked, Xue Bauer, have you really broken off your engagement? Why is there no news at all? Li Qingxue could only nod and say, well, he and I have discussed it. In a few days, we will find an opportunity to explain to both parents. If neither of them agrees, this marriage will naturally be cancelled. She said it easily, without showing any sign of abnormality. Eating. The atmosphere was slightly awkward. By the way, Miss Li, why didn't you bring your boyfriend with you? Chu Xiao asked secretly. This sentence immediately aroused Pei Yimo's curiosity. She said excitedly, Xue Bauer, you are in love. Why didn't you tell me who it is? Is he handsome? The guy you like must be a handsome guy. Li Qingshue's mouth twitched, and she said, I'll tell you on their way back. It's not convenient now. Half an hour later. Eat and drink enough. Pei Yimo left in Li Qingshue's car. Chu Xiao also carried Chu Lingyan, who had just fallen asleep, to his car. He pressed the car key, and the Lotus Avenger started instantly, making a roar, which aroused the envy and jealousy of many passers-by around. At this moment, a woman with messy clothes and heavy makeup walked out from the corner. She walked quickly and hugged Chu Xiao from behind. Chu Xiao, you bad guy, you hid the truth from me so badly. Who were those two women just now? Why did you have supper with them? I called you today but you didn't answer. Did you block me? This woman is none other than this. It was Chu Xiao's ex-girlfriend Zhang Sheru. Nausea. It really lingers. She actually had the nerve to hug me in front of so many people? Open. Chu Xiao spoke coldly, with endless disgust flashing in his eyes. Zhang Sheru was obviously drunk. She acted like a spoiled child and said, if you don't let me go, I won't let you go. You said I was your good girl. Can we go home together? I feel so bad. Those old men made me drink so much wine. Her voice is unpleasant to begin with, and it's even more disgusting when she acts like a spoiled brat. Chu Xiao felt goosebumps all over his body, but he had Chu Lingyan in his arms and couldn't break free. Chu Xiao, if you had told me earlier. You are so rich, why would I come out to work so hard and get in touch with those old men? You don't even know that they touched me. Chu Xiao, I love you and I like you. Can we sleep together tonight? I want to hold you in my arms while I sleep. Zhang Sheru pretended to be drunk, but she was not drunk at all. She had been analyzing Chu Xiao since she saw him. She guessed that Chu Xiao must be a rich young man who pretended to be a poor loser and wanted to find a wife who loved him sincerely. And that person must of course be her. After all, in the past 3 years, Chu Xiao had been obedient to her in everything, and could be described as an extreme bootlicker. Every time Zhang Sheru said she wanted to break up, Chu Xiao would be scared. When Zhang Sheru thought about marrying into a wealthy family, becoming a noble lady, and enjoying the resources of the upper class, her heart felt as sweet as if she had eaten honey. I'm warning you again, let go. Chu Xiao's voice became colder and colder. He was extremely disgusted with Zhang Sheru in his heart, and his 3 views were shattered. There are really many strange things in this world. Such a rotten thing actually has the nerve to hug me and say such disgusting words. Sorry. That bootlicker Chu Xiao has been dead for a long time. Zhang Sheru shook her head, pouted, and tried to forcefully kiss Chu Xiao. Chu, kiss me. Chu Xiao, whoever pulls this lunatic away from me, I'll give him 1 million. As soon as these words came out, the whole place was in an uproar immediately. The street was already full of people who came to see the luxury cars. When they heard this, their eyes turned red. Immediately, 7 or 8 passers-by reacted, rushed forward and pulled Zhang Sheru away. You stinky bitch, don't you know who you are? You're drunk and you just touched the handsome guy. You're so shameless. That's right, a piece of scum like you might not even be picked up if you were sleeping on the street. Bar. You are such a shameless slut. You were flirting with so many old men just now, and now you are clinging to this handsome guy. You don't even take a piss and look in the mirror. Passers-by pointed and cursed. Zhang Sheru struggled and yelled, you poor bastards, let me go. I'm his girlfriend. If you offend me, you won't have a good ending. He and I just had a misunderstanding. I want to marry into a wealthy family. A middle-aged man selling barbecued pork tendons nearby spat and cursed, don't dream. I saw it clearly just now. The 2 female companions of this handsome boy are as beautiful as fairies. How could he have a girlfriend as unpresentable as you? Don't you see what kind of car he drives? Chu Xiao breathed a sigh of relief. He first put Chu Lingyan into the car and fastened her seat belt. Then he took off the coat that was soiled by Zhang Xiaoru and threw it into the trash can. Then he opened the trunk of his car and took out a box, and piles of banknotes came into view. "Everyone, this money is for you." As he spoke, Chu Xiao threw stacks of banknotes into the sky. Money soon began to rain on the street. Red $100 bills floated down from the sky, and people rushed to grab them. Chu Xiao returned to the car, stepped on the accelerator, and the Lotus Avenger sped away and disappeared in the rain of banknotes. What a rich guy! What a rich guy! Wow! So fucking cool! Stop being so arrogant and pick up the money. Don't rush, I saw it first. Passers-by and diners all bent down like crazy to pick up the money, which soon turned into snatching, cursing, and beatings. Chu Xiao gained a lot of satisfaction points. Har har, I didn't expect that I could get some points just by spending money. Even though it's a little, it's worth it. Chapter 19, Absorbing Qi, or Tai Chi Xing Yi Ba Guazhang. Royal Lake Bay Villa. When they returned home, several nannies hurried over and carried the sleeping Chu Lingyan to her room. "Master, it's getting late, you should go to bed early," the nanny said caringly. "You guys should go to bed early too." After taking a shower, Chu Xiao lay on the soft big bed and opened the system interface to check it out of boredom. Host, Chu Xiao. Cultivation, none. Goldfinger, X-ray eyes, superb driving skills, natural strength. Satire points, 5,780 points. Nice. I actually earned so many points in one day. Chu Xiao pinched his chin and looked at the system background. He soon discovered something strange. Under normal circumstances, the pleasure point value contributed by each passerby was only 1 point, and occasionally there would be a critical hit of 4 points. However, when eating barbecue at Haifilu, during a certain period of time, the satisfaction points contributed by passers-by and diners were generally as high as 3 points. Could it be because of Pei Yimo and Li Qingxue? Because they are goddess-level beings, so having them around will bring you extra pleasure and double the fun. And in order to double the pleasure, passers-by must see it. Chu Xiao felt that this possibility was very high, but it needed further verification. He found that the system's reward points were not fixed, but there were some unspoken rules. This required him to explore it himself. "Brother Tongzi, I have something I want to know from you," he said. "Bite." "Host, you are welcome. Please ask." The system sounded. Chu Xiao asked curiously, "Every time I open the Shuangwen prop pool, you always say something like opening the primary Shuangwen prop pool. So, can I understand that there are also intermediate or advanced Shuangwen prop pools?" Bite. This system is the most powerful cool writing system. Theoretically, it has all the cool writing props and golden fingers in the universe. However, this system is still in its early stages. Therefore, we can only provide elementary cool writing props. If their host wants to obtain a higher level of cool article props, he must first optimize and upgrade this system. Note, every system upgrade will cause irreversible changes to the world. It comes with great risks. At the same time, their host can also obtain a higher level of cool article props gold finger. Weigh the pros and cons, please make your own decision. The system's voice flashed by. What does it mean to irreversibly change the world? Chu Xiao asked curiously. Bite. This question involves violations and cannot be answered. Host, please forgive me. Is it a violation of regulations? Okay. Then please tell me how to upgrade you. Chu Xiao asked again. Since you are bound to the system, you can't live in mediocrity all your life. Upgrading the system is only a matter of time. As for causing irreversible changes to the world, Chu Xiao hasn't considered it yet. In other words, the system won't blow up the world with just a single upgrade. Bite. This system upgrade is very simple. You only need to consume 100,000 points to complete the system upgrade. After upgrading, this system will unlock the intermediate cool article prop pool for you. Note, the intermediate Shuangwen prop pool can only be opened by consuming 10,000 Shuang points. I see, 100,000 points. It's equivalent to capturing 10 goddesses, or killing 10 sons of luck. It seems like a lot, but it's actually not that difficult. Chu Xiao pinched his chin and muttered to himself, he had earned more than 5,000 points today. If he continued to do so, he would be able to accumulate enough points to upgrade in about 10 days. I glanced at the time and it was almost dawn. Chu Xiao decided to wait a while before going to bed. He would not miss the opportunity to open the primary Shuangwen prop pool for free every day. Time passes by little by little. Soon, the clock struck 12. System, it's time, open the primary item pool for me. Chu Xiao rubbed his palms. Bite. Random selection from the primary cool article prop pool. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the following 3 options, please choose one. Acute sense of smell, this cheat code comes from a common sand sculpture cool novel. Once selected, the host will have a keen sense of smell far beyond that of ordinary people. Even a dog's nose cannot compare to yours. Gardening mastery, this cheat code comes from a popular novel. Once selected, you will have top-level gardening skills, and you will be able to prune flowers, plant plants, etc. with ease. Absorbing power, this cheat code comes from a common doobie martial arts novel. Once selected, you will automatically comprehend the secret absorbing power. As long as you touch the other person, you can absorb the power in the other person's body. No upper limit. No limit. The system's voice flashed by. Chu Xiao's eyes suddenly lit up. He didn't expect that his luck would be so good today that he could even get such a heaven-defying secret book like the power-absorbing technique. Oh my god! This is the supreme secret book of the evil way. This is the energy-absorbing technique that makes all the monks in the world tremble in fear. It's outrageous. The power-absorbing technique. Holy crap! This is it. I want the power-absorbing technique. Chu Xiao shouted excitedly. In a flash, the knowledge about energy absorption technique flowed into my mind. I learned it without a teacher, understood it naturally, and directly achieved Mahayana. After carefully comprehending the mystery of this technique, Chu Xiao couldn't help but smile. Hee. Awesome. The energy absorbing technique. I've only seen this stuff in martial arts TV dramas. I never thought that I would be able to master it one day. I'm going to be invincible. As long as I don't encounter immortal cultivators, I can walk sideways, right? But to be on the safe side, I still need some martial arts secrets for self-defense. System, help me redeem Tai Chi Xingyi Bagua Zhang. Bite. Consume 2,000 points. Congratulations to the host for successfully exchanging and obtaining the golden finger, Tai Chi Xingyi Bagua Zhang. Please be prepared. The miracle initiation is about to begin. The system's voice flashed by. Chu Xiao was a little confused. What was going on? Why was there such a big fuss? I just learned the energy-absorbing technique but was not told to be prepared. The key is, what preparations should we make? Is it to take a bath and burn incense? However, Chu Xiao soon understood. A piercing pain erupted in his body. To be more precise, every inch of muscle, every meridian, and every cell in his body was experiencing tearing pain. The unprecedented pain almost made him faint. Chapter 20. The person you like, couldn't he be Chu Xiao? In the early morning, when the sky was just getting light and a thin mist was floating on the lake, a dozen water chickens were swimming in groups among the lotus leaves, looking for food. By the lake, a young man in a white shirt was trying to push his palms to gain luck. He half closed his eyes, and moved his body like a crane, light as flying. In the next instant, he seemed to be possessed by an old ape, leisurely. As his body danced, a whirlwind seemed to blow around him, the leaves rustled, and an invisible energy formed the Bagua pattern in the air. Tai Chi Xingyi Baguazhang. A supreme martial art. Drink. Chu Xiao waved his palm violently, and there was a loud bang in the air. The century-old black pine in front of him was instantly broken in half, as if it was torn apart by an invisible force. Hiss. The power of this palm is so terrifying. Chu Xiao took a breath of cold air. He was at least 7 or 8 meters away from the century-old black pine tree. He didn't expect that it could be destroyed directly like this. It was too terrifying. You know, Chu Xiao himself has natural great strength, and now he has obtained the cultivation of a martial arts grandmaster given by the system. When he performs Tai Chi, Xingyi and Baguazhang, it is naturally terrifying. Not to mention a mere tree, even a stone wall would be instantly shattered by this terrifying force. Wow! That's amazing. Brother, you are my idol. Do it again. I want to see it again. A childish voice sounded from the second floor. With a bit of excitement, Chu Xiao looked up and saw Chu Lingyan lying on the windowsill, holding a cell phone and recording a video. Chu Xiao frowned secretly. He didn't want this matter to be exposed. Even if it was to his family members, it would be better not to let them know unless it was absolutely necessary. After all, his character is a playboy who has turned over a new leaf. He is not good at anything and is the best at spending money on wine and women. I looked around and found that this was a blind spot for surveillance. The only evidence is the video Chu Lingyan just took. Chu Lingyan ran down the stairs and hugged Chu Xiao's thigh excitedly. "Brother, I want to practice martial arts too. Please teach me how to practice martial arts." Chu Xiao rubbed her head, snatched her phone when she was not paying attention, deleted the video, and then said, "You are wrong, brother, I don't know any martial arts. Don't talk nonsense. We must believe in science. We must base it on science." Chu Lingyan said with a smile, "You can delete it. Anyway, I have uploaded it to my cloud. If you don't teach me martial arts, I will send the video to Grandpa. Tell him that you broke the feng shui tree at home. This black pine tree is very valuable. Grandpa treats it like a treasure every day. Yo-ho. The little girl is quite cunning. He also knows about feng shui trees." She was right. The century-old black pine tree that was broken by Chu Xiao was transported from the north by Grandpa Chu Jianghe at a high price, and a feng shui master had performed a ritual on it. No way. Chu Xiao had no choice but to compromise and promised Chu Lingyan to teach her the martial arts secrets. As for whether she could learn it or not, that was her own business. After all, practicing martial arts requires talent and perseverance. Most people can't stand it. Not to mention the distant past, let us just talk about Tai Chi, Xingyi and Baguazhang. The initial training method is very boring. It requires standing in a posture, comprehending Qi, coordinating breathing techniques, squatting in a horse stance, and hitting hard objects with your palms. But it can't be mastered overnight. As expected, Chu Lingyan just squatted in horse stance for more than 10 minutes, then cried and screamed that Chu Xiao was abusing children, and then ran away. When I asked her to come out to practice again, she pretended she heard nothing and ignored me. Alas! This child is incorrigible. Chu Xiao shook his head, not knowing whether to laugh or cry, and then began to think, with his current strength, wouldn't it be easy to defeat Yi Fan, the son of luck? However, the system's task requirement is not to beat people, but to kill Yi Fan. This is very difficult to deal with, because murder is against the law. We are not professional murderers. It would be terrible if we left any clues and got wanted by the police. Chu Xiao frowned. Besides, he didn't even know where Yi Fan was. How could he complete the task? Think of this. Chu Xiao took out his phone and sent a WeChat message to Li Qingxue, asking, "Miss Li, are you free to bring your boyfriend out for dinner today? I really admire Brother Yi." The other side. Li Qingxue was driving. After seeing the message, she frowned slightly, then pretended not to see it, threw the phone aside and continued driving. Chu Xiao, who had been waiting for no news, could only pinch his nose and said with a smile, "It seems that this Li Qingxue is really difficult to deal with. It's difficult to conquer her. Think about it." Chu Xiao sent another message to Pei Yimo, "Good morning, what are you doing? Have you eaten?" Just a short message. Soon. The system prompt sounded in my mind. Bite. Pei Yimo is extremely pleased with your greetings, and his favorability increases by 5 points. Current favorability, 80 out of 100. Host, please keep up the good work. We are just one step away. Come on. Young man. In the car. Li Qingxue asked with a smile, "Hey. Someone sent you a message so early. Let me guess, could it be a man?" Next to him, Pei Yimo, who was sitting in the passenger seat, smiled and nodded, "Yeah." Li Qingxue asked curiously, "Who is it? Are you so happy just because I sent you a message? You better be careful. None of the men nowadays are good. People as naive as you are the easiest to be deceived." Pei Yimo pushed his glasses up and replied to Chu Xiao's message, saying, "No, he's not that kind of man." Hearing this, Li Qingxue's heart became even more curious, as if a kitten's claws were scratching her, so she quickly asked, "Who is it? Tell me quickly. I'll help you check. I have the best eyes for judging men." Pei Yimo was silent for a few seconds, and suddenly asked seriously, if I like a man, and this man is several years younger than me. His family is also rich and powerful, and has a good background. Should I confess to him?" Li Qingxue was shocked and said, "No way. My Miss Pei. You are crazy about me. Pei Yimo, stop kidding. I'm telling you the truth. Li Qingxue also put away her playful thoughts and nodded seriously, saying, if you really like him and think he's a good person and worthy of your lifelong trust, then just say it boldly. What era is this now? It's not shameful to take the initiative. She is carefree and seems to understand love very well. Actually, she herself was still a little chick, had never been in a relationship, had never even held a man's hand. At this time, Pei Yimo was entangled again and asked, but, I have only known him for one day. If I confess to him, wouldn't it be too unreserved? Would he think I am a fickle woman? Li Qingxue couldn't help but burst out laughing and said, hey! You still know this? You're amazing. You've only known her for one day and you've fallen in love with her. Who is she to make you so crazy? Pei Yimo held the phone in silence. Suddenly, Li Qingxue seemed to have thought of something. She stepped on the brakes and exclaimed, the person you like. It can't be Chu Xiao. Her voice rose several decibels. Chapter 21 I am a rich second generation, I'm showing my cards. Friendly reminder from the author, chapters 21, 22, and 23 are written in a style that is closer to the crooked-mouthed Dragon King style. Readers can just take a look and have fun. Don't worry, this is only the case in the first few chapters of this book. There is no such thing in the latter part infinitely cool articles, with all kinds of cool points, all kinds of writing styles, and all kinds of frameworks . The following is the main text. Why didn't you reply to my message all of a sudden? Chu Xiao sat in the pavilion in the yard holding his cell phone. Several nannies considerately brought him a hot breakfast and almost fed it into his mouth. Forget it. Find a way to earn points first. There are still 6 days left for the mission, so there's no rush. Chu Xiao stuffed something into his mouth randomly, then took the car keys and ran straight to the underground garage. As a qualified host, of course he had to work diligently every day to earn refreshment points. Let us drive out first to show off and rock the streets. Boom boom boom. Dark Gold Lotus Avenger, start. Brother, where are we going to play today? A childish voice came from the back seat of the car, and Chu Lingyan poked her little head out without anyone noticing. Chu Xiao was startled. Fuck. Why are you in the car? Chu Lingyan said with a smile, Grandpa asked you to take care of me, you don't want to leave me alone at home. Chu Xiao, fasten your seatbelts. Chu Lingyan, yes, sir. The Dark Gold Lotus Avenger is speeding on the street. Holding the steering wheel in hand, I can hear the constant dinging sounds of the system. Chu Xiao was in a good mood, but soon found something wrong. He felt that his happiness points today were much less than yesterday, at least less than half. What's going on? Are the people on this street immune? Are they not jealous anymore? Thinking of this, Chu Xiao decisively changed his route. He guessed correctly. After changing the route, the pleasure point value of the harvest doubled. Brother, where are we going? Chu Lingyan pouted, looking somewhat dissatisfied. Just at this moment, the cell phone rang. Chu Xiao picked up the phone and glanced at it. When he saw the name on it, he was stunned for a moment. The phone screen shows, Mar Lao Yao. Old Demon Mar? This person, he remembered. He is the company's director, his name is Mar Bai. He is a very selfish person, a bit androgynous, and has a strong negative energy. I almost forgot, I haven't resigned yet. The call is connected. Baby Chu Xiao. Are you up? The other party said in a somewhat sarcastic tone. Chu Xiao didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Yeah, he's up. The other party pinched his throat and asked, oh, what day is it today? How could I forget it? Chu Xiao, Monday. Next second. A cursing voice came from the other end of the phone. You knew it was Monday, but you didn't hurry up and come to work. What time is it now? I'm telling you, your bonus for this month is gone. Do you hear me? I give you 5 minutes to stand in front of me. Otherwise, I'll report it to the company and fire you. Beep beep beep. After Marbai finished cursing, he hung up the phone. 10 minutes later. Huisheng Real Estate Company. Sales Department. Look, there's a really cool car outside. It must be owned by a wealthy person. Someone heard the sound of a car horn, turned his head to look out the window, and saw the Dark Gold Lotus Avenger at a glance, and couldn't help but feel extremely envious. Marbai, the supervisor, brightened up and said immediately, You all wait here, I will go and receive you personally. After he said this, the faces of the other dozen or so salesmen all looked very ugly. Damn it, this bastard is nothing. He asked poor losers to receive him, but when he saw a rich guy, he went to greet him in person. He's like a lapdog. He also complains at every monthly meeting that we don't work hard. Oh. That's right, this old bitch is so shameless. Speak softly, don't let him hear. The bottom sales whisper. Outside. Chu Xiao did not get out of the car, but waited quietly. Soon he saw a middle-aged man with a middle-parted hair and a small suit coming towards him with a flattering look on his face. As expected, the old demon Mar came to greet him in person. Because the car windows were covered with anti-peep film, outsiders could not see clearly what was going on inside. Marbai stood outside the car with a flattering smile on his face and said, "Excuse me, are you looking for a house?" At this time, the car window slowly rolled down. After seeing Chu Xiao's half-smiley face, Marbai was stunned for a moment, then frowned and scolded, "It's you, kid, you're already late. How dare you come to work?" Chu Xiao calmly lit a cigarette and said, "Sorry, I'm here to buy a house today." "What? Buy a house?" Marbai's eyes showed contempt. He knew the situation of each of his subordinates very well, especially the good-for-nothing Chu Xiao in front of him. His parents died when he was young and his family was poor. He was a poor loser who couldn't even afford to add sausage to his instant noodles. How could he buy a house? Har har, you are dreaming. Did you work as a designated driver last night? Did you drive someone else's client's car here? He sneered coldly. Chu Xiao touched his nose and said, "To tell you the truth, this is my own car. Actually, I am a rich second generation, I am laying my cards on the table." Hearing this, Marbai was stunned for a few seconds, then burst into laughter and waved in the direction of the sales department, "Come out quickly. Our eldest Master Chu is here. Come out and line up to welcome him." A dozen salespeople who worked together day and night quickly came out, both men and women. When they saw that the person driving was Chu Xiao, there was some confusion and doubt in their eyes. What's going on? Why did Chu Xiao drive this kind of car to work? Could he have rented it? Nonsense, if it's not rented, then it must be bought. We all know his situation. Yes. I guess this guy was emotionally traumatized. So he deliberately rented a luxury car last night to go to a nightclub to pick up girls. He didn't even have time to return it, but he drove in front of us to show off. Stop talking. Chu Xiao is a nice guy, except for being poor. Let's just play a trick with him. Don't expose him. Good idea. The salesmen came forward with smiles on their faces, calling him young Master Chu one after another, and they were so happy to praise him. Chu Xiao was also stunned, wondering what was going on. Did they all know his identity? It shouldn't be like this. Why don't they jump out and refute me? Even Marbai clapped his hands and said with a smile, "Come on, let's invite Master Chu to come in and take a look at the house. What if he is happy? Then we will have achieved our performance target." As he spoke, Chu Xiao was supported by everyone and walked into the sales department. Marbai brought Chu Xiao to the sun table, pointed at the building that was priced at more than 21 million, and said sarcastically, "Mr. Chu, what do you think of this house? It is open from north to south and close to the mall. It only costs more than 20 million. You can definitely afford it with your wealth, right?" Chu Xiao pinched his chin and nodded, "Well, this house is okay. More than 20 million is not expensive." Everyone held back their laughter, wanting to see how he would continue. Marbai narrowed his eyes, took out a contract from his arms and said, "Hey. Since Mr. Chu thinks this house is okay, let's sign the contract. We are old friends. I will give you the lowest discount. Only 20 million from you. How about it?" At this time, someone finally couldn't help but say, "Manager Mar, please stop joking with him. How can Chu Xiao afford such an expensive house? Chu Xiao, you are just too bored, why did you rent a luxury car to show off?" Chapter 22. We are all colleagues, how come you became rich suddenly? Chu Xiao, you should admit your mistake to Manager Mar. It's just one time of being late. It's okay. Yes. We don't use clock in here, Manager Mar, don't you agree? Colleagues around me kindly spoke up. Marbai had a gloomy face and shouted, "What? You can be late if you don't clock in. You guys are at the bottom of the performance list every month. I can't even hold my head up at the head office. I get scolded every year. Today, Chu Xiao is a typical example. I must fire him." As he said that, he threw the contract in his hand hard at Chu Xiao's face. "You are poor loser, why are you pretending to be a rich second generation? You are a person who can't even add boiled eggs to instant noodles, how can you afford a house? And 20 million is not expensive. Aren't you afraid of your tongue being blown away by the wind? Do you know how much 20 million is? With your ability, you can't afford it in your lifetime." Marbai's voice was so loud that everyone in the whole building could hear it. The colleagues around him also shut their mouths and dared not speak anymore, for fear of being implicated. Only one girl named Jiang Yu said weakly, "Manager Mar, you can't say that to him. Although Chu Xiao was late. But firing him for being late once is a bit too much." Marbai sneered, "Why? You like him? Why are you speaking up for him like that? He hasn't had an order for 3 months. How about you help him achieve some sales?" Jiang Yu was speechless, her wheat-colored face flushed. She was just a newcomer, only been here for a month, and she hadn't completed a single order yet. How could she help Chu Xiao? The company doesn't support you just to eat dry food. Chu Xiao, what are you laughing at? Hurry up and pack up your things and get out of here. Marbai found Chu Xiao's face full of smiles, and couldn't help but get even angrier. This kid is so bold. You haven't said a single soft word till now. Aren't you really afraid of being fired? Chu Xiao was not angry either. He squatted down calmly, picked up the contract on the ground, handed it to Jiang Yu, and said, "Come on, call me Brother Chu." Jiang Yu's eyes were full of doubts, but she still called out obediently, "Chu, brother." Chu Xiao rubbed her head, took out a black gold card from his pocket, and said, "Go, swipe the card. I'll buy this apartment. The performance will be in your name." Jiang Yu was stunned in place, her pink and tender mouth opened, and she said weakly, "Brother Chu. Stop joking. Hurry up and apologize to Master Mar." The people around him also said, "Chu Xiao, why are you still acting? Do you really think you are rich second generation? This apartment is worth 20 million. It's not something that poor losers like us can imagine. We are just acting with you, pretending to be cool. Don't take it seriously." Marbai sneered and took out the POS card machine, entered the number 20 million on it, then snatched the black gold card and said, "Har har. He wants to swipe the card. I'll swipe it for him today. Let's see if I can swipe out 20 million. Immediately following, our voice came from the card machine, "Ding. Card swipe successful. 20 million spent." As the receipt was printed out, it was clearly written in black and white that the transaction of 20 million yuan was successful. The entire sales department was in complete silence. It was quiet for several minutes. What's going on? Where am I? Who I am? I must be dreaming. 20 million? So the card swiping was successful? Chu Xiao broke the silence and said, "Xiao Yu, congratulations. According to the rules of our sales department, you will get a 20% commission for this order. This house is worth 20 million. After deducting taxes, you should be able to get about 1.6 million. Although his voice was not loud, it was deafening. Everyone reacted and stared at Chu Xiao, as if they had seen a ghost. Oh shit. He really spent 20 million. Chu Xiao, you couldn't be hooking up with a rich woman. A colleague exclaimed, his eyes filled with envy and jealousy. We are colleagues and everything was going well, how come you suddenly became rich? Envy makes a person unrecognizable. Envy makes us separate from the body. Bite. You are envied and hated by your colleagues, and your satisfaction points increase by 30 points. Bite. You are envied and hated by your colleagues, and your satisfaction points increase by 40 points. Bite. Bite. A series of system prompts sounded in my mind. Chu Xiao was shocked. I didn't expect the system to give so many satisfaction points. That is too much. Among them, Marbai alone contributed 250 points of satisfaction, which makes him undoubtedly the supreme leak. This is almost like slapping the son of fortune in the face. It's so awesome. It seems that Manager Mar is very jealous, otherwise he would not provide so many points. Chu Xiao pinched his chin and secretly rejoiced. The 20 million meant nothing to him. At the same time, he also had some enlightenment. These poor colleagues are simply treasures. Chive Field. The rules of the system are very simple. By slapping others in the face and pretending to be cool, you can make others have various emotional values, such as envy, jealousy, regret, etc. And these emotions will be converted into cool points. In other words, the more envious and jealous this person is, the more pleasure points he can provide. And colleagues who work together day and night. Everyone is an acquaintance, and when they suddenly discover that Chu Xiao has gone from a poor loser to a rich man, they naturally feel very envious and jealous. What are you still standing there for? Grab a pen. Let's sign the contract, Chu Xiao said to Jiang Yu. Jiang Yu stood there stupidly. After saying "oh," he quickly took out an oil pen and handed it to Chu Xiao respectfully. After signing, the house purchase contract officially takes effect. Is this the end? Jiang Yu murmured, her tone still filled with endless trance. She felt that everything was so unreal, like a dream. Even if she was dreaming, she couldn't imagine that she would actually sell the best building worth 20 million. Right now. The person who was the most jealous and regretful was none other than Marbai, the senior manager. He was fantasizing in his heart that if he had not thrown the contract in Chu Xiao's face just now, would he be able to sign the contract and earn the 1.6 million? Marbai stepped forward with a flattering smile, holding the black gold card, and shamelessly said, "Mr. Chu, look at this contract. Can we sign a new one?" Chu Xiao asked in confusion, "Why?" Marbai said flatteringly, "You know my situation. I have an 80-year-old mother to take care of at home. And my son is in love again recently. The other party's family wants a 1 million yuan betrothal gift. Where can I get so much money? How about you give me this list? From now on, if you are late every day, I will pretend that I didn't see it. How about that?" As soon as these words were spoken, everyone looked at them with contempt. I've seen shameless people, but I've never seen someone so shameless. He just called others a poor loser, and now is trying to steal the order with a licking face. Don't be ashamed. But then again, this is an order worth 1.6 million, how can you still have the dignity to do that? Chu Xiao couldn't help but laugh and said, "You old bitch are really shameless." Marbai nodded repeatedly, and said in a flattering manner, yes, I am shameless." "Then can I sign this order? I was the one serving just now. I was the one who swiped the POS machine." Chu Xiao rolled his eyes and pointed at Jiang Yu and said, "I've already given her the order. Why don't you go ask her yourself? If she's willing to give it to you, I don't mind." Chapter 23, Mr. Chu. If you become rich and powerful, you will never forget me. Normally, the topic would end here, and no one would really go to Jiang Yu to ask for the order. After all, this was a bonus of more than 1.6 million yuan, which was undoubtedly a fortune for an ordinary family. But Marbai was different. He was not an ordinary person. He snatched the contract from Jiang Yu's hand and said, "Jiang Yu, you just came to our company not long ago. You don't know the situation. I have a very good relationship with Chu Xiao. He will definitely give this order to me. And I have been serving you from beginning to end. But don't worry, I will not treat you unfairly. When I get the bonus, I will treat you to a meal alone. In addition, I will promote you to team leader." Jiang Yu had just had over 1 million yuan thrown at her face and she hadn't reacted yet. Seeing the contract being snatched away, she was so anxious that her face turned red and she stammered, unable to utter a word. "Fuck, old bitch Mar, do you still have any shame?" This order was given by Chu Xiao to Jiang Yu. "What does it have to do with you?" "That's right, give the contract back to them. You bully even a little girl, you're not a real man. Chu Xiao, say something. Are you really planning to give the order to Mar Leobai?" Several male colleagues couldn't help but speak up. Although they were jealous of Jiang Yu, they were more unwilling to see Marbai snatch the contract. Chu Xiao grinned, looked at Marbai with contempt, and said, "Old Bai, it seems that your popularity is not good. There are so many people, but no one speaks for you." Marbai held the contract in his hand, his head buzzing. He forced a smile and said flatteringly, "Mr. Chu, they are nothing. You are the party A. Just one word from you. This order is mine. According to the rules, I can give you a 40% rebate. How do you think?" A 40% rebate is almost over 600,000 yuan. Chu Xiao's face suddenly turned cold. "I'm sorry, I told you about the order. It's for Jiang Yu. Besides, I don't need any rebate. In my eyes, this little money is nothing." Hiss. The people around couldn't help but gasp. They suddenly realized that Chu Xiao was not only rich, but also generous. This was too pretentious. Jiang Yu, you can call the police now. With so many people watching, if Ma Leobai really dares to snatch your order, he will have to spend at least 20 years in prison based on the 1.6 million bonus. Chu Xiao spoke calmly. Jiang Yu finally reacted and blushed as she shouted, Manager Ma, please give me the order back. This is what Brother Chu gave me. If you don't give it back to me, I will call the police. A colleague nearby started to make a noise. Yes. Call the police. If you don't, I will. This old bitch Mar is such a jerk. He relies on his connections in the company to do whatever he wants. He bullies his colleagues. He really thinks he is a local tyrant. Xiaoye, call the police now. We will all testify for you. Yes. Call the police now, we will testify for you. Several people started to make a fuss. Are you kidding? Even if I give this order to a dog today, I can't let Marbai snatch it away. It's so bullying. You. Shut up. You are just jealous. If you have the guts, ask Chu Xiao to buy you a house. This order is mine. It's mine. Marbai shouted a little irrationally. Hearing his words, Chu Xiao had an idea and said, Okay, stop dreaming. This order is for Jiang Yu. If you dare to take it for yourself, we'll see you in court. As for other colleagues, you're right. Then each of you can choose a house. I'll sign the order. The commission is yours, I don't want any rebate. As soon as these words came out, boom! The entire sales department was in an uproar. Chu Xiao. No. Mr. Chu, you are kidding. Are you really going to sign a house for each of us? A colleague swallowed. The rest of the people also quieted down, staring at Chu Xiao with fiery eyes, not daring to breathe. Each house here is worth several million, and the commission is as high as 520%. In other words, everyone can get a bonus of more than 100,000 yuan. Generally speaking, a large portion of these bonuses will be returned to customers. Otherwise the house really can't be sold. Chu Xiao smiled faintly. We are all colleagues, we have been together for so long. Now that I, Chu Xiao, have become rich, I will naturally not forget you. Everyone can come to me to sign an order today. A moment. Everyone howled excitedly and hugged Chu Xiao. Some even couldn't help but kiss Chu Xiao on the face several times. Bite. You have gained the gratitude of your colleagues and received 15 points of satisfaction. Bite. You have gained the gratitude of your colleagues and received 20 points of satisfaction. Bite. Bite. Female colleague Jiang Yu's favorability towards you increases by 100 points. Successfully capture the enemy, gaining 99 points of satisfaction. Bite. Female colleague Wang Qianqian's favorability towards you increases by 100 points. Successfully capture the enemy, gaining 69 points of satisfaction. Bite. A series of system prompts exploded in my mind. Among them, several female colleagues had a favorability level of 100 points towards Chu Xiao, which meant that they could play poker and have parties with Chu Xiao. Working in sales is a very relaxed job. Chu Xiao raised his hand to signal everyone to be quiet, and held up the black gold card and said with a smile, Okay, hurry up and prepare the contract. Let's start swiping the card now. Buy a house. Mr. Chu, sign mine first. My apartment is worth 8 million. It is the second best apartment after the king of the building. It is open from north to south and comes with a large balcony. Fuck. Do you have any shame? Forget it. I'll choose the 6 million one. Soon. There were more than a dozen salesmen, and each of them signed a deal with Chu Xiao. The cheapest house was worth 3.8 million, and the commission was as high as 300,000. Each of them felt unreal, like a dream. Hundreds of thousands. Is it such an easy way to earn money? What made them even more puzzled was what happened to Chu Xiao. Even if he was with a rich woman, he shouldn't be so extravagant, right? Did I win the lottery? At this time, Marbai also came over with a contract in his hand, and said flatteringly, Master Chu, you signed all of them. Why don't you sign mine as well? These contracts are not expensive in total. Only 15 million. Chu Xiao picked up the contract and threw it in his face without even looking at it, saying, Manager Mar. Are you mistaken? How come everyone only got one set, but you got 4? You really think you can be shameless just because you're so shameless, right? Marbai's face turned red. He cursed Chu Xiao in his heart as a stupid upstart. He forced a smile and said in a flattering way, "How can I be like them? I'm the supervisor. Besides, the most expensive houses here have been chosen by them. I'll choose a few more. Just turn a blind eye. Brother Chu. Grandpa Chu. I call you Grandpa. Just sign for me. How about this, you let all of them call me Grandpa. I will sign all the contracts in your hands. How about it?" Chu Xiao said with a playful look in his eyes, as if smiling. Chapter 24, Meet at the Casino Again. Marbai looked at his colleagues around him and said in a commanding tone, "Did you hear me? Hurry up and call Chu Xiao Grandpa. He is our god of wealth." The entire sales hall fell silent. Everyone pretended not to hear it. "You? What are you standing there for? Hurry up and shout. As long as you call him Grandpa, he will sign the bill for me. Then, I will treat you to singing and eating. Please, just call him Grandpa. It won't cost you any more meat if you call him Grandpa." Marbai shouted with a red face. He suddenly found himself isolated. Chu Xiao raised the corner of his mouth and said, "Don't bother. Haven't you figured it out yet? No one is willing to help you. Do you know why? Because your character is too bad. Okay. 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 You all just wait. Today's matter is not over yet." Marbai roared with red eyes, then turned around and forced a smile and said, "Grandpa Chu, since they are unwilling to shout, forget it. Just sign this for me." He took out a contract and handed it to Chu Xiao. Chu Xiao shook his head and said with a smile, "Sorry, I don't want to sign now. Let's talk about it later." Marbai stood there in a daze for a few seconds, then shouted angrily, "You're kidding me. How dare you kid me? Bite. You have been deeply hated by Marbai, and you have gained 500 points of satisfaction." The system's voice flashed by. I didn't expect that Marbai actually provided so many points. It's simply an ATM. Next. It was another cliched act of pretending to be awesome and slapping someone in the face, until these colleagues became numb. Chu Xiao knew that they could no longer provide him with many points of satisfaction. Under the compliments and gazes of everyone, Chu Xiao returned to the car, closed the door, and sighed secretly, It's so hard to pretend to be awesome. It makes me spend money like an idiot." He shook his head. He stepped on the accelerator and disappeared from the sight of his former colleagues. "Oh. So rich. I just checked online. The car Chu Xiao drives is worth more than 80 million. Damn. If I had known earlier that this kid was a rich second generation who came out to experience life, I would be willing to be his dog." A colleague stood on the side of the road, sighed and shook his head, feeling extremely regretful. "I had lunch with Chu Lingyan." Chu Xiao continued to drive around on the road, earning points from passers-by. Although the points were not much, they were continuous and could add up to a lot. This is not a solution. When can we save up 100,000 points to upgrade the system? Chu Xiao was a little worried. Just at this moment, the phone screen lit up, and it turned out to be a WeChat message from Li Qingxue. "Li Qingxue, are you free to have dinner together tonight?" Wow. The sun rose from the west, and she actually took the initiative to ask me out. Chu Xiao pinched his chin and typed a reply while driving, "Is your boyfriend going?" Li Qingxue, "Just the two of us." Chu Xiao, "No." Li Qingxue's face was full of questions, "Why?" Chu Xiao, "Chu, I am a gentleman. You are already a married woman, I don't want to be misunderstood by Brother Yi." Bite. Pei Yimo's favorability towards you increases by 5 points. Current favorability, 85 out of 100. Host, please keep up the good work. The goddess will be captured soon. The system's voice flashed by. What's going on? Why did Pei Yimo's favorability improve after chatting with Li Qingxue? Chu Xiao was stunned for a moment, but he quickly reacted and quickly replied again, "How about you call Brother Yi as well?" Inside the office of Li Group, Li Qingxue looked at the other party's reply and fell into silence. Pei Yimo beside her said with a smile, "You see, I know Chu Xiao is a good person. He is not as bad as you think. You should reduce your prejudice against him." Li Qingxue was speechless. She threw her phone onto the desk in front of her and said, "Forget it. I don't care about you anymore. If you get caught by a scumbag, don't blame me for not reminding you." Pei Yimo smiled and hugged her, saying, "Oh. I know you are doing this for my own good. You want to test Chu Xiao. But Chu Xiao is really a good person. He is gentle and considerate. He also speaks well. Li Qingxue rolled her eyes. There is no cure for you. At this time, Pei Yimo's phone suddenly rang. It was Chu Xiao who hit him. Pei Yimo looked at Li Qingxue at a loss, hesitating. What should I do? He called me. Li Qingxue was speechless. Answer it. Don't you miss him? But I don't know what to say. Are you going to answer or not? If not, just hang up. Final. Pei Yimo picked up the phone and asked gently, what's the matter? Her voice was obviously a little clamped. Chu Xiao said, nothing, I just want to ask if you are going to Vienna tonight. If you go, let's go together. I just happen to be in need of a female companion. If you win, we'll split the points, and if you lose, it's mine. I heard that he was going to gamble. Pei Yimo's eyes suddenly lit up, and he said without caring about his image, go. This is such a good thing. Of course I have to go. What time do we meet? Chu Xiao smiled and said, 6 o'clock in the evening. Let's go out and play for a while and then go home. Pei Yimo, yeah. See you then. Hang up the phone. The office fell silent. Li Qingxue said unhappily, is this the man you like? I don't see any ambition in him. He goes to the casino every day at such a young age. No matter how much wealth you have, he will squander it all. I tell you, the man I hate most in my life is a gambler. I don't agree with your marriage. Pei Yimo puffed up his cheeks and said, don't say bad things about brother Chu Xiao. He's not the kind of person who is addicted to gambling. Based on my observation of him, he doesn't like money at all. Gambling is just for fun. As for marriage, I don't know if he will like me. After all, I'm so much older than him. Li Qingxue was completely speechless. Love brain. There's really no hope. Time soon came to 6 o'clock in the evening. The dark gold Lotus Avenger whizzed to a stop. Chu Xiao had been driving for a whole day and had refueled several times, but it was all worth it. He got out of the car holding Chu Lingyan and saw Pei Yimo at a glance. Chu Xiao. We are here. At the dock, Pei Yimo was wearing a pink long dress, standing gracefully, with Li Qingxue and Yifan standing beside her. Chu Xiao walked over with a smile. Long time no see. Miss Pei. Miss Li. Brother Yi. He greeted several people politely. Yifan nodded indifferently without saying anything. He had arranged for people to investigate Chu Xiao's background today. After learning about some of Chu Xiao's situation, he felt even more disgusted with Chu Xiao. Why was Chu Xiao born as the heir of the Chu group and was also engaged to Li Qingxue? What made Yifan most jealous was that Chu Xiao was not satisfied with his family's arrangement and ran away from home. This kind of dandy boy who doesn't know how to cherish. A waste who only knows how to eat, drink, whore and gamble. You shouldn't be alive in this world. Chapter 25, Spending a Fortune Just to Win a Beautiful Woman's Smile. Casino Vienna. Monitoring Room. Brother Long, that Chu Xiao is here again. He beat up our people last time, and today we must make him lose so badly that not even his underwear is left. Someone said while looking at the surveillance camera. On the side, Long Aoqian was flirting with two women. He narrowed his eyes immediately after hearing this, revealing a gloomy look in his eyes, and said, har har. No. Let him win today. I want him to completely fall in love with gambling. He can't help himself. Only in this way can we squeeze more value out of him. Brother Long. He beat up one of our people. Are we just going to let him go like this? What do you know? A gentleman's lack of patience can ruin a great plan. He beat up our brother, so of course we can't just let it go. But now is not the time. Okay. Brother Long. I'll do whatever you say. Half an hour later. Inside the monitoring room. Someone said with a trembling voice, Brother Long, that Chu Xiao has already won 300 million. And he keeps raising the stakes. He goes all in every time. If this continues, I'm afraid our cash flow won't be enough to make ends meet. Long Aoqian climbed up from the woman. He stared at Chu Xiao, who was constantly winning money on the screen, and frowned. How is that possible? It's only been half an hour. Has he been winning all the time? The man swallowed his saliva. I have been watching him the whole time. Since the first round, he has never made a wrong bet. He has won every round. The gamblers around are going crazy. What should I do? Long Ouchin crossed his arms, narrowed his cold eyes, and said gloomily, "We can't let him play this anymore. Fix the machine and force him to play something else." "Okay. Brother Long." Inside the casino lobby. It was extremely lively and everyone was going crazy. They followed Chu Xiao in placing bets and won huge sums of money. Pei Yimo smiled and said, "How is it? Am I right? Chu Xiao has very good luck. He always wins." Li Qingxue stared at the table in great surprise. Her CPU was about to burn out. She couldn't understand what was going on. How could anyone bet and win every time? What kind of luck is this? Yifan snorted in his heart. He had been acting as a foil from the beginning to the end. In order not to make Li Qingxue dislike him, he did not participate in the bet and just watched Chu Xiao win. With a capital of 10,000 yuan, he won nearly 300 million yuan in just half an hour. So much money. It's simply an astronomical figure. Chu Xiao has already won a lot. He is not interested in money, but the pleasure is worth it. This time, not only is there the blessing of Goddess Pei Yimo, but there is also Yifan, the eye-catching guy, who is next to him and continuously provides excitement. You know, Yifan is the son of destiny. Every time the bet won, Yifan would provide dozens or hundreds of points of satisfaction. In just half an hour, he provided Chu Xiao with more than 2,000 points of satisfaction. Chu Xiao was so embarrassed that he even felt embarrassed to kill him. In Chu Xiao's eyes, Yifan is simply a big rooster that lays golden eggs. He is not only a son of luck, but also a very petty and envious person who is full of jealousy and hatred. System. How about we discuss it? Don't kill Yifan. I can't bear it. Chu Xiao was secretly happy with himself. He knew that it was impossible for the system to take back the task. Sizzle. Suddenly, puffs of smoke came out of the gambling table, scaring the people around and making them scream. "I'm sorry, everyone. This machine is broken. It can't be fixed in a short time. Or, you should go play something else. We have many ways to play here." A waiter in a black vest trotted over, bowing and nodding to everyone. The gamblers around started cursing. They were having a great time and their wallets were bulging with money, but suddenly they were told that the machine was broken, which made them very angry. Damn. If you guys in Vienna can't afford to have fun, then don't open it. That's right. I just won a little bit and the machine broke down. What a coincidence. It didn't break down earlier or later, but just when I was winning money. Damn it. Great God of wealth, Chu, please say something. Isn't this obviously bullying? People around were shouting. Chu Xiao touched his chin without saying anything, his eyes flashing with brilliance. He knew better than anyone whether the machine was broken or not, and with the ability of his X-ray eyes, he could see it all at a glance. This machine is not broken at all. However, he couldn't say anything. After all, this is someone else's casino. He won so much money, and he keeps winning. Anyone would be angry. Making the machine smoke deliberately is a good way to stop playing. Chu Xiao smiled and shook his head, split the chips in front of him into two, and pushed most of them in front of Pei Yimo, saying, "Keep it. It's agreed that each of us will get half." Pei Yimo opened her mouth wide, her eyes sparkling like stars. She said in a daze, "Give it all to me." Are you kidding? There are 150 million here. 150 million. For a rich girl like her, that was a huge sum of money. Chu Xiao nodded. "We agreed to give it half to each of us. Why would I lie to you? Do you want it? If not, I'll take it away." Hearing this, Pei Yimo immediately threw himself on the chips, and said with a happy smile on his face, "Yes, yes, yes. Why don't you want it? Chu Xiao, you are so good to me. I love you so much. MUA. Bite. Pei Yimo's favorability towards you increases by 15 points. Current favorability, 100 full score 100. Congratulations to their host, you have completed the Goddess Raider's strategy, and will be rewarded with 9,999 points of fun points. The system's voice sounded in my mind. Hiss. Is this the complete guide? Chu Xiao was suddenly overjoyed. Bite. Yifan is jealous and envious of you, and his satisfaction points increase by 800 points. Bite. Gamblers are jealous of you. Bite. Bite. A series of system prompt sounds. Fuck. He gave 150 million to a woman without even blinking an eye. He is such a rich man. I wish I were a woman. Is this what it means to spend a fortune just to win a beautiful woman's smile? I'm so jealous. Oh my god, I am so lucky to have a glimpse into the world of the super rich. Today I know that I am the frog in the well. Chutsishan. Are you still in need of a dog? I'm a super licker. The gamblers around started to speak. At the same time, almost all the women present were extremely envious of Pei Yimo. They wish they were the female companion of Chu Xiao. Unfortunately, they are not even as good as Pei Yimo's toes. Among all the women present, only Li Qingxue was qualified to stand with Pei Yimo and compete with him. They were like two gorgeous and extraordinary fairy flowers, suppressing the other women so much that they could not raise their heads. Bang bang bang. Not far away, there was a sound of applause. A handsome man in a neat suit came over and said with a smile, "Mr. Chu is really generous. He spends a fortune just to make a beauty smile. I admire you." This man had sharp eyebrows and bright eyes, sharp features, a strong body, a pair of captivating eyes, and an intimidating aura that made people feel that he was extraordinary. He also wore a big gold necklace around his neck, which made him look a little arrogant. Chu Xiao turned his head to look. The system prompt sound suddenly rang in my mind. Bite. Found the Son of Destiny. Chapter 26, Long Aoqian's Invitation. Sorry, I don't even understand Mahjong. Name, Long Aoqian. Age, 27. Height, 187 centimeters. Identity, leader of Qianmen Society, behind-the-scenes boss of Vienna Casino. Cultivation, Grandmaster of Martial Arts. Proficient in judo, boxing, gunmanship, swordsmanship, gambling. Kill reward, 9,999 points of satisfaction value. The system's voice flashed by. Hiss. System. You've been exposed. You're too lazy to even issue a mission and just mark a kill reward. You have a grudge against the Son of Luck, right? Chu Xiao muttered to himself, feeling extremely excited. I didn't expect to meet another Son of Luck in such a short period of time, and his cultivation level turned out to be that of a martial arts grandmaster. You know, Yi Fan, who is also a Son of Luck, is only a martial arts master now. Moreover, Yi Fan is already 29 years old, while the Long Aoqian in front of him is only 27 years old. He truly is the Son of Destiny. Even if a normal person is gifted, it would take at least 30 to 50 years to cultivate to the level of a martial arts grandmaster. From this we can see how amazing those so-called Sons of Luck are. What a pity, they live in this world. Chu Xiao's mouth corners raised. Bite. Each of the Sons of Luck has great luck. Killing them will only benefit the host, not harm him. Also, this system can assist you in intercepting the other party's luck. Note, luck has no meaning to you. If you have this system, you already have the strongest luck in the universe. The system voice sounded. Chu Xiao took a deep breath and expressed his deep agreement. This was the most powerful cool writing system. Theoretically, it possessed all the golden fingers in the heavens and the worlds. There was nothing the system could not give, except what one could not imagine. Just have fun. He is the god of gamblers, Long Aoqian. Even he was alarmed. Oh my god, an idol. Someone screamed. Yi Fan frowned slightly. As a martial arts master, he instinctively sensed the aura of a grandmaster emanating from Long Aoqian. This person is so young, but he has already reached the level of a martial arts grandmaster. How is this possible? Yi Fan was extremely surprised. He felt that being a martial arts master at the age of 29 was unprecedented, but he didn't expect that there was someone more awesome than him. What on earth is going on in this world? At the same time, Long Aoqian's gaze also fell on Yi Fan. The two of them suddenly looked at each other, and saw a bit of fear and hostility in each other's eyes. As both are Sons of Luck, there will be some conflicts between them. So this is the legendary god of gamblers. I've heard of you for a long time. Chu Xiao smiled and bowed, looking harmless and polite. Long Aoqian also smiled and said, Mr. Chu, are you interested in gambling together? Bite. The Son of Luck has made a bet with you. As the host of this system, you must not back down. Quest, the god of gamblers is nothing. Please defeat the Son of Luck, Long Aoqian, in gambling skills. Task reward, 3,000 points. The system's voice sounded in my mind. Chu Xiao raised the corners of his mouth and said with a smile, Since Brother Long has invited me so kindly, I will naturally accompany you to the end. Hear this. Pei Yimo looked a little worried. She leaned against Chu Xiao and whispered, "Chu Xiao, didn't you hear what others said just now? Long Ouqian is the gambling god of Jianghai City. If we bet with him, we will definitely lose. I think we should just forget it. After all, we have already won so much." Li Qingxue, who was just looking for fun, said, "What are you afraid of? Chu Xiao is so lucky, he may not lose. Don't worry about it." Pei Yimo looked at her and said, "But..." Chu Xiao smiled and said, "It's okay, I'm just playing with him. I believe that a gambling god-level boss like Brother Long will not let a rookie like me lose so badly." Long Ouqian grinned, laughed wildly, and clapped his hands, saying, "Very good. Very good. I like generous people like Brother Chu. Shall we get started now?" The gamblers around were originally very angry because of the machine failure. When they heard that Chu Xiao was going to gamble with Long Ouqian, they all quieted down, with extremely excited expressions in their eyes. One is the eldest son of the Chu group who has great luck, and the other is the gambling god of Jianghai City who has been famous for a long time. When the two of them collide, it must be a gamble that cannot be missed. Many gamblers gathered around, wanting to witness this historic moment. At this time, Long Ouqian's eyes fell on Yifan again. He smiled contentiously and said with a bit of provocation, "I see that this brother is extraordinary. I wonder if you are interested in joining the gambling game and playing together." "Okay. Since you want to gamble, let's play together." Yifan smiled confidently. He was quite proficient in gambling. During his years abroad, he often went to various casinos and spent a lot of money. But after returning to China, he became much more low-key. If an ordinary person invited him to participate in the gambling game, he would definitely refuse with his arrogant personality. But Long Ouqian was different. The other party was also a son of luck, and no one wanted to lose face. "There is a hint of gunpowder in the atmosphere." "Okay. Then the three of us will bet together." The eyes of the three men, Chu Xiao, Long Ouqian and Yifan, intertwined with each other, as if invisible arcs of electricity were flashing and sparks were flying. Li Qingxue frowned slightly, and her favorability towards Yifan decreased a little, but she didn't say anything. After all, she and Yifan were just pretending to be lovers, not real lovers. "Chu Xiao, are you sure?" Pei Yimo asked worriedly. Chu Xiao smiled faintly, "To tell you the truth, I never gambled before, and I don't even understand mahjong. That's why I've been playing big and small here." Hearing this, Pei Yimo's pretty face turned pale, and she couldn't help but said in a lost voice, "What did you say? You don't know how to gamble? Then why did you agree to it? Aren't we just giving money away? Forget it. Let's not gamble anymore. Can we go home?" Chu Xiao touched the tip of his nose and said with a smile, "What are you afraid of? It's nothing more than losing some money. My Chu group has plenty of money for me to squander. As usual, if you lose, it's mine. If you win, we'll split it in half. You won't lose anything." "That's not what I meant." "Oh. Never mind. You bet. Even if you lose, we'll split the money in half." Pei Yimo stared at Chu Xiao in front of her with her clear eyes. She suddenly found that she seemed to like Chu Xiao more. He was open-minded and transparent, had no interest in money, and acted casually. Could this be the legendary view of money as dirt? It's so cool. Don't like money. So what does he like? The people around couldn't help but gasp. They really didn't expect that Chu Xiao had been playing the game of betting here all the time. It turned out that he knew nothing about gambling. This gambling game is really interesting. Yifan sneered in his heart and said to himself, "Chu Xiao, you are so arrogant. You don't even understand mahjong, but you dare to agree to the bet. But it's okay this way. I have disliked you for a long time. I will make you lose everything later." Long Ouqian also narrowed his eyes and looked Chu Xiao up and down. He was wondering how much truth there was in what Chu Xiao said. Chapter 27. Let us play poker. "Young man. Master Chu, are you lying? You really don't know how to gamble?" Long Ouqian asked with narrowed eyes. Chu Xiao smiled and nodded, and said very modestly, "I really don't know how to gamble, so I hope Brother Long will take good care of me later. Don't let me lose too embarrassingly. After all, you are famous gambling god in the world." Long Ouqian couldn't help but laugh. Mr. Chu is too modest. It's not certain who will give way to whom at that time. Chu Xiao asked with a smile, "Are you suspecting that I'm lying?" Long Ouqian shook his head, walked over and put his arm around Chu Xiao's shoulders, as if they were on good terms, and said, "Brother Chu, you don't know. Gambling is strange. People who gamble often have bad luck. And novices usually have the aura of novices. I believe that Mr. Chu must be a very lucky person. So, you will definitely win today." Chu Xiao smiled and said, "Then I'll borrow your good words." He really doesn't know how to gamble, and he doesn't even understand mahjong. But he has a system. There was a god-level gambling technique in the system's props pool before, but he didn't buy it. "System, please help me buy the god-level gambling technique," he said to himself. Bite. Consume 1000 points. Balance of cool points, 16,010 points. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the Golden Finger God-level gambling skills. God-level gambling skills, this cheat code comes from a mediocre and cool novel. Once you choose it, you will have God-level gambling skills, and you can be called the God of Gamblers. When it comes to gambling skills, no one in the world can be your opponent. And when you participate in any gambling game, your luck index will increase by 100%. The system's voice flashed by. Chu Xiao looked at Yifan with a smile and asked, "Brother Yi, do you know how to gamble?" Yifan was stunned by the question and said calmly, "I know a little bit." Long Aoqian laughed and said, "Okay. Since Brother Chu is not very good at gambling, let's take care of him and play something simple. How about poker? Fried golden flour is the simplest poker gambling method. The gameplay is easy to understand and only requires 3 people to start. The more people participate in the gambling, the more exciting it is." Long Aoqian looked around and asked with a smile, "Does anyone want to gamble with us?" Hear this. The gamblers around were a little impatient, but when they thought of the wealthy people like Chu Xiao and Long Aoqian, they all calmed down. Are you kidding? This is a big-name gambling game, with tens of millions of dollars to be won or lost in a matter of minutes. Who dares to bet? Seeing that no one spoke, Long Aoqian smiled contentiously and took Chu Xiao and Yifan to a golden gambling table in the center. It is called a golden gambling table, but in fact it is just painted with a layer of gold paint on the outside, which makes it look tall and noble. The 3 of them sat down in a triangular formation, and no one could see the other's cards. Pei Yimo stood beside Chu Xiao. She felt her heart pounding. Such a big gamble, and a gamble against the god of gamblers, made her really worried. Chu Lingyan sat next to him very obediently, with a smile on her face, looking harmless. Soon, the dealer, wearing a black suit and white gloves, walked to the middle of the table and began to shuffle and turn the cards under the gaze of everyone, as he was about to deal the cards. Yifan suddenly said, "Let me wash it twice." The dealer looked at Long Aoqian and Chu Xiao with some embarrassment. Normally, guests were not allowed to shuffle the cards unless the other guests agreed. Long Aoqian nodded slightly and sneered in his heart. All the playing cards here have special marks, and he can see clearly at a glance what card is dealt. It is no exaggeration to say that in this casino, he is the undisputed god of gamblers, and no tricks can escape his eyes. Although Yifan was clever and knew a little bit about gambling, he was too confident after all. Of course Chu Xiao had no objection. Just shuffle the cards as you like. Under his eyes of insight, no matter how you shuffle the cards, he can see clearly what the cards are at a glance. It's no use trying any tricks. Yifan obviously didn't know his current situation. Everyone had cheats, but he relied entirely on his own skills. He picked up the playing cards and glanced at them casually, then began to shuffle them in various ways in front of everyone, showing off his skills. This caused the surrounding gamblers to exclaim in amazement. Even many female gamblers began to admire Yifan, thinking that he was handsome, had a good figure, and his way of shuffling cards was so cool. After shuffling the cards, the dealer took the cards and asked, "Does anyone else want to shuffle the cards?" Seeing no one respond, he began to deal the cards one round after another, neither fast nor slow. The originally noisy casino also became quiet at this time. Everyone is paying attention to this bet. Yifan sneered in his heart. He had already arranged the order of the cards when he was shuffling them just now, and even made some marks on them. He was confident that he could get himself a golden flower. Given enough time, he could even make himself a leopard. Soon, the round of cards has been dealt. None of the 3 spoke, and no one looked at the cards. Long Aoqian raised his lips, threw out a 5 million chip, and said, "Boring." The rule of playing poker is that if the previous player keeps a card, the next player must also give the same amount of chips if he wants to follow suit. If the next player looks at the card, the chips need to be doubled. 5 million chips were given right at the start. Most people really can't keep up. The gamblers around gasped. Yifan happened to be the next player. The corners of his mouth twitched, and he endured the pain and threw out a 5 million chip and said, "I'll follow." As a special forces soldier who retired from abroad, he is also a killer. Yifan also has quite a bit of family wealth. Over the years, he has saved almost 500 million. Although 500 million is a lot for ordinary people, Yifan has lived a hard life since childhood and is very stingy. The 5 million chips made him feel heartbroken. As for why he was willing to lurk in the Li group as a small bodyguard, it was naturally to get close to Li Qingxue, the daughter of the Chaebol group. Next. It was Chu Xiao's turn to speak. Everyone's eyes were on him, wanting to see if he would follow suit and play a silent card. If 3 people hold down their cards at the same time, one hand after another, even though 5 million chips may not seem like a lot, it is actually quite exaggerated. Hundreds of millions of dollars are being gambled every minute. There was a slight gleam in Chu Xiao's eyes. With the help of his eyes of perspective, he could see the cards of the 3 people clearly. Long Aoqian had a Q golden flower in his hand, Yifan had an A golden flower in his hand, and he had a K golden flower in his hand. A card game for 3 people. In the first hand, 3 golden flowers came out, and they were big AKQ golden flowers. This is really too exaggerated.